Presented by Hillsdale College's DC Graduate School of Government.
Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center. In Upper Marlboro, there is some police activity that has the ramp from southbound Pennsylvania Avenue to go on to Woodyard Road, both north and southbound. That ramp is blocked with the police activity. Problems right now in Garrison, Villaquia, with an accident on northbound 95, and that is right at exit 143, 610 Garrison, Villaquia, where all lanes are blocked between the express lane entrance and the Garrison, Villaquia exit. And that has traffic jam from Courthouse Road. This is a tractor-trailer accident. Your delays continue northbound from Lorton towards Springfield, and southbound is slow on and off from Springfield and Lorton in towards Woodbridge. More delays in towards Fredericksburg. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Storm Watch 7 forecast.
A stray shower or two this evening and into the overnight as temperatures drop to the 50s by early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, a very warm day, upper 70s to middle 80s with mostly cloudy skies. Showers are likely on Sunday. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudin of the First Alert Weather Center.
Right now, 70 degrees in McLean, 68 in Burtonsville, and 70 degrees here in Washington. I'm Heather Curtis, Sun News Talk, 105.9 WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Mark Levin.
In the underground time post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Welcome, it is the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one. He's resting his voice. He's going to be back with you on Monday. I got to tell you, it is so much fun to watch all of the winning that is happening when it comes to getting rid of government waste. DOGE has now come out saying the Department of Labor has canceled $577 million in America Last grants, including funding for gender equity in the, quote, Mexican workplace. Don't blame me for this. I'm just giving you the numbers.
3 of them.
So let me dial you through this latest massive cut. The U.S. Department of Labor canceling the $577 million of America Last contracts, including $10 million that was going for gender equity in the Mexican workplace. Quote, unquote, the Department of Government Efficiency has announced. Great work today by USDOL and the Secretary. They're canceling the $577 million in America Last grants for $237 million in savings. Listing some examples of the wasteful grants that were canceled. One of the grants was worth that $10 million that was literally described as gender equity in the Mexican workplace. There was another $12.2 million that was for worker empowerment, not in America, but South America. And $6.25 million was for, quote, improving respect for workers' rights and agricultural supply chains, and not in this country, not America, but in Honduras, in Guatemala, and El Salvador. Now, the canceled grants were intended for other countries as well, including $3 million for safe and inclusive work environments, $3 million to enhance Social Security access and worker protections for internal migrant workers in Bangladesh. Why the hell would we be paying for that? $4.3 million for assisting foreign migrant workers in Malaysia, and $5 million for elevating women's participation in the workplace in West Africa. All of this coming from the Department of Government Efficiency, telling the story. Yes, you should be angry, obviously, by all of this that you're hearing right now. Now, this follows DOGE updating its savings leaderboard, which now touts $130 billion in estimated savings. DOGE's website explains that this is a combination of asset sales, contract and lease cancellations and renegotiations, fraud and improper payment deletion, grant cancellations, interest savings, programmatic changes, regulatory savings, and workplace reductions, which breaks down to a savings of $807.45 so far per taxpayer in this country. DOGE currently displays 9,289 grant terminations, which alone total $32 billion in savings for the American people. DOGE has continued, by the way, to uncover even more waste, fraud, and abuse in federal government. President Trump highlighting many of these findings during his speech before Congress early this month, where he talked about the $22 billion from HHS to provide free housing and cars for illegal aliens. I don't want my tax dollars going for that. Call me old-fashioned, by the way. Or $45 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion scholarships, not in America, but in Burma. $40 million to improve the social and economic inclusion of migrants. Yeah, sedentary migrants, I should say. Trump began adding, quote, nobody knows what's a sedentary migrant even is. How about the $8 million to promote LGBTQI plus in the Africa nations, which nobody's ever heard of? $60 million for indigenous people of Afro-Colombian empowerment in Central America. Yes, $60 million. And $8 million for making mice transgender, reminding Americans that this is real. And it continues to be a growing list that deals with waste, fraud, and abuse. What's also interesting is how Elon Musk has just been so focused on all of this and has made it clear that we are being transparent in what we are finding. The amount of money that Elon Musk is finding and the people around him are finding is even shocking. I think it's pretty clear to say to Elon Musk. But can we also just go back to why it is that Democrats hate this so much? It's because they want to control every aspect of our lives. I also want to take you back to when Democrats were in favor of cutting waste and promoting efficiency. How do I know that? I only have to go back to November the 9th of 2011, when Barack Obama on the official White House website And what did President Barack Obama say?
That fucking
then?
on there, and I
He
hate
had
that
a
when that
Doge-style
fucking happens.
executive order to cut waste and promote efficiency, saying it was time to get our government under control. My question is, why did you not lose your minds then when Barack Obama was saying that we needed to do it? And why is it now that you're losing your minds as a guy by the name of Elon Musk does it with Donald Trump? I think we all know the answer to that, right? They would rather have Donald Trump fail than for America and our economy to succeed. Because it's not about what's best for the American people or the American taxpayer. It's about what's best for their power as socialists, as communists, as Marxists. I want to play for you what Barack Obama said back in 2011. And no one said that this was insane in the Democratic Party. No one was out there losing their minds the way they are now with Elon Musk. Instead, they were all in favor of it because it was coming from a black Democrat by the name of Barack Obama.
That I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending at a time when families have had to cut back, have had to make some tough decisions about getting rid of things that they don't need in order to make the investments that they do. We thought that it was entirely appropriate for our governments and our agencies to try to root out waste, large and small, in a systematic way. Obviously, this is even more important given the deficits that we've inherited and that have grown as a consequence of this recession. This makes these efforts even more imperative. Now, this does mean making some tough choices. It means cutting some programs that I think are worthy, but we may not be able to afford right now. We don't need to wait for Congress in order to do something about wasteful spending that's out there. Cutting waste, making government more efficient is something that leaders in both parties have worked on, from Senator Tom Coburn, Republican, to Democrat Claire McCaskill. We haven't seen as much action out of Congress as we'd like, and that's why we launched on our own initiative the campaign to cut waste. Not just to cut spending, but to make government work better for the American people. For example, we've identified thousands of government buildings that we don't need. Some of them sat empty 4 years. So we're getting rid of those properties, and that's going to save the American people billions of dollars. Roger Rhodes works at the Department of Commerce. Raise your hand, Roger. There's Roger. He found a way to save the department almost $2 million a year on its cell phone bills. And I'm sure that there are probably some consumers out there that like to talk to them and find out what they could save on their cell phone bills. Celeste Steele is here. Celeste, raise your hand. Celeste works at the Department of Homeland Security, and she's helping to save taxpayers tens of millions of dollars by changing the way that the department buys goods and services.
By the way, let's just pause there. This is no different than what Barack Obama, or I should say Donald Trump is doing, or Elon Musk is doing. In fact, he's got his team, in essence, of Doge behind him at the time. And, if you had to, Elon Musk tweeted this out, I think it was like 3 or 4 hours ago. He said, take a tequila shot every time Obama says government efficiency. Right? Like, you listen to him, and he's like obsessed with it back in 2011. Now he abandoned it, right? Democrats went to him and said, no, you can't do this, dude. This is our gravy train, man. Like, you can't cut all of our programs. Like, we got to have this stuff because we got to buy voters. And and clearly he, wussed out, right? He didn't man up and actually do it. But if you listen to Obama and you took a tequila shot every time Obama said government efficiency, you'd be hammered in the hospital begging for your life.
Also tasked Vice President Biden to work with the secretaries of all our agencies to identify some systemic areas of potential improvement: travel, transportation, IT services.
By the way, I love this Barack Obama. Like, if Barack Obama would have done this, if Joe Biden would have done what they said here and not been corrupt as hell and weaponizing the government against the American people and weaponizing the IRS against the Tea Party patriots, like, I could have gotten along with this guy. But again, I go back to the core point here. If you want to know why Democrats are going insane over Elon Musk and Doge and Donald Trump, it's because they're losing their gravy train. They had no problem with Barack Obama saying it. They have no problem with any other Democrats saying the same thing, as long as it was their party that was in charge. I'll give you another example of this. Bret Baier sat down at the White House with some of the Doge workers and Elon Musk. And I want you to hear one of their stories. Listen carefully.
And it is alarming how the financial operations and financial management is set up today. There is actually really only one bank account that's used to disperse all monies that go out of the federal government.
Time out. One bank account.
It's a big one. It's a big one. It's a big one. A couple weeks ago, it had $800 billion in it, but it's the Treasury General account. So when you hear, some of my colleagues here, what they're talking about in terms of the fraud, you have to ask, well, why is this allowed to happen at a financial level? Well, it's actually quite simple but alarming. The Treasury, up until now, and thanks to President Trump, we're fixing this. In fact, there's an executive order that he just signed the other day, which is protecting America's bank account, because it really is the taxpayers' money. One, we're changing the culture. The culture is been not a lot of caring and not a lot of commitment to doing what's right relative to financial operations. There's a $500 billion of fraud every year. There's hundreds of billion dollars of improper payments, and we can't pass an audit. The consolidated financial report is produced by Treasury, and we cannot pass it on. We have material weaknesses. What that means is that if I was a public company CFO, I would effectively be removed. I couldn't file financial statements. I couldn't issue securities.
Never pass an audit.
Can't pass it on.
Right. The federal government cannot pass an audit. It's impossible. In fact,
let's just stop there. Elon Musk, I'm going to play the part of this in a second, but what Elon Musk said, the United States government couldn't pass an audit. Do you want to know why? Because they set this up deliberately to make sure they never had to deal with an audit, so that they could then encourage the waste, fraud, and abuse to their cronies and political allies, whether it's PBS or NPR or transitioning mice to be training mice. This is, or Sesame Street in Iraq or wherever the hell we did that. This is the problem. 1-877-381-3811. I want to get your phone calls in here as well. 1-877-381-3811. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one. If you can't get through, follow me on X, Ben Ferguson. show on X. And if you're on Instagram, you can send your messages there. Follow me. I'll put all these clips up on social media. On Instagram, it is at Ben Ferguson Podcast. There, grab me there. Facebook, Ben Ferguson. There, you can find it easily. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
You'll still find accident activity on 95 northbound at Garrisonville Aquia. That is exit 143. Traffic is now getting by along the right shoulder and part of the right lane, but traffic is still jammed from Courthouse Road. Also watch for delays northbound from Lorton to the Beltway and southbound of Slocum Springfield towards Newington and from Lorton heading in towards Woodbridge. There is still police activity that has the ramp from southbound Pennsylvania Avenue to Woodyard Road closed. That in Upper Marlboro. The earlier accident in Loudoun County on Route 9, the Charlestown Pike at the Berlin Turnpike has now been cleared. Now for GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Storm Watch 7 forecast.
Tonight, partly cloudy with scattered showers, a low around 57. Tomorrow, partly sunny, high near 84.
Want to get some good discounted food and dining options, reliable roadside assistance, preferred credit card offers, or fraud protection? You need to check out AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. No matter what your age is, you can take advantage of the services they provide for either yourself or your family, and have confidence that their partners stand behind the vision our nation's founders had to enrich the lives of all Americans through goods and services offered by like-minded companies. But joining AMAC isn't just about the benefits. It's about belonging to a community that stands for timeless American values. Regardless of your age, you can enroll in a 5-year AMAC membership for 47% off. Visit amac.us/SRS today to take advantage of this special offer. AMAC's membership is made up of Americans who believe in faith, family, and freedom. We're over 2 million members strong and growing. Their mission is simple: protect the interests of all freedom-loving Americans and offer incredible member benefits. From exclusive discounts on travel insurance and everyday services to supporting strong representation in Washington, D.C., AMAC's here to make a difference in your life and our nation. Visit amac.us/SRS today to join millions of Americans who believe in backing their mission. That's amac.us/SRS. Join AMAC and become a part of a movement that stands for you, your family, and your future.
Your phone has a lot of apps, but how many of them help you make sense of your world? The new WMAL app gives you the latest headlines, perspective from the voices you trust, and weather info to keep you in the know, all without having to remember yet another password.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app.
Thank you.
Get the WMAL app today on Google Play or the Apple App Store, and stay connected.
Blowing out your birthday candles should be easy, but if you have undiagnosed COPD, you may find yourself short of breath. Early diagnosis and treatment can add years to your life. If you have symptoms like wheezing or chronic cough, talk to your doctor and visit copdfoundation.org today.
NBA veteran Jim Jackson takes you on the court. You get a chance to dig into my 14-year career in the NBA, but also get the input from the people that will be joining. Charles Barkley. I'm excited to be on your podcast, man. It's an honor. Spike Lee, entrepreneur, filmmaker, Academy Award winner. Knicks fan, bro. Now, you see, I got you. But also how sports brings life, passion, music, all of this together. The Jim Jackson Show, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
As a young adult at this point in your life, you probably have a lot of questions. Like, what's next? What does my future hold? The thing is, there's no right answer, only your answer. Your friendships, experiences, and purpose. It's all your choice. So what will you choose? As you make choices about the future, the military can be a resource for information to help bring a fulfilling path into focus. A public service message from the Department of Defense. To learn more, visit todaysmilitary.com.
Around-the-clock updates and uncommon understanding.
Listen to this, because this stuff is going on behind the scenes and you don't know about it.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
A message from the National Police Association. It used to be that any able-bodied person would offer to assist a police officer in danger. Now, passersby are more likely to take a video. There's a better use for your phone when an officer's in trouble. Call 911. Tell the operator where you are and what you see. Then start your video to provide evidence later. To learn more about how you can assist law enforcement, visit nationalpolice.org. That's nationalpolice.org.
At Shrine Hospitals for Children, there are a million reasons to share love.
And I I am one of them.
There are a million reasons to share love, but you only need one. To learn how you can share love, visit loveshriners.org.
There are 1,000 ways to say it.
Nope. Knock it off. Shut it down. Dream on. No dice. Give it a rest. Not a chance.
Or just
All text. You focus on the road.
as a passenger, you have the power to prevent an accident. There are 1,000 ways to
That's
stop
up
a
to the
disaster.
Mark Levin Radio Show.
Welcome back. It is the Michael Ben Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the Great One. He'll be back with you on Mondays. He's resting his voice today, and it's so nice to have you with us. If you just joined us, we're talking about government waste, fraud, and abuse. And why is it the Democrats are so hell-bent on going after Elon Musk, trying to destroy him? Now, and we're going to deal with the domestic terrorism of Tesla in a little bit. But I want to go back to a point I was making a second ago, and that is this. There is a group of people in this country called Democrats, and I'm talking about their leadership, that aren't really Democrats. They are Marxists, they're socialists, they're communists. It's all three. They're anarchists, throw them in there. They may be a mixture of everything, like just a hot bag of you-know-what. And they're masquerading as Democrats because they don't believe that the American people are fully ready for them to just say, I'm a socialist or I'm a communist. Like now, in some parts of the country, there have been declared socialists and communists that have actually won elections. So they believe they're coming around to this. The American people, like they believe there's enough of these socialist, Marxists, and communists that are being created in our public school system, in our college institutions, that are being indoctrinated, that at some point they'll say, like, yeah, we're not Democrats anymore, but they got to lie to you. But they have no problem with their own party saying what was said by Barack Obama. They didn't burn down people's belongings because he said it when he said it. They didn't torch people. They didn't become anarchists. They didn't go crazy. I'll give you another example of just the corruption here. And I would play you the audio clip, but it's actually not in English. But Zelensky just came out. This is a perfect example of the left. And he says Ukraine, quote, will not recognize all of the previous U.S. military aid as debt. Quote, unquote, we're not recognizing debts. He went on to say this, and this is from earlier today. Now, this is the same guy that's begging us for more money. Trump's like, I don't know about that. And now the guy's like, well, if you think we're going to do a deal to take on that debt when you gave us all that money with that last administration, you're wrong. That ain't happening. On the issue of debts, Zelensky said, if the issue is raised, we are not recognizing debts, as I said. I mean, the U.S. aid is in the past, at least again. If there are any prospects, new aid packages, the United States can probably set some conditions, realizing that this team will not do anything for free. They say it officially, right? I love how he's like acting like that's a bad thing. No, this administration is not going to give you a bunch of money. And by the way, Zelensky's own words. We don't know where half of the money's gone. By the way, I know exactly where it's gone. It's gone to the Ukrainian oligarchs around Zelensky, who are all hanging out in five-star hotels in Warsaw. That's where the damn money's going. But when he sits there, he's like, well, we're not going to recognize it. Fine, then shut off the spout. You don't want any more aid from us with conditions? No problem. Like, please save me the money. I'm more than happy for that to happen. I think the majority of the American people would agree with me. Ben Ferguson filling in for the Great One. By the way, grab my podcast at the break, the Ben Ferguson podcast as well. We'll be right back.
When I see you on the scene, you hold on, it gets quick. When you stand
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers. So we build specially adapted homes at Homes for Our Troops. And thanks to our donors and supporters, this life-changing gift of freedom is provided mortgage-free to these veterans. But we need you to join us too in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 6:30. I'm Heather Curtis. The head of the American Federation of Government Employees vowing to take legal action against an executive order President Trump signed yesterday to end collective bargaining at agencies involved with national security. Everett Kelly.
Invoking national security as justification for this action is a ridiculous pretext, not a legal reason.
The White House says the president's allowed to do it under the Civil Service Reform Act. Vice President J.D. Vance giving this message to Denmark during a speech at a Space Force base in Greenland. When it comes to security,
you have not done a good job by the people of Greenland.
He says Greenland would be safer under U.S. control. The Dutch Prime Minister says the visit puts unacceptable pressure on Greenland and Denmark. Traffic and weather next.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
School absences are often due to the absence of necessary resources. But when Communities in Schools is present, students are connected to the support they need to show up ready to learn. Visit communitiesandschools.org. Being present matters.
Business owners know every missed call is money left on the table. For $15 a month, get a dedicated business number with OpenPhone. Manage calls, assign conversations, send auto replies, and use AI-powered transcripts to stay on top of every customer interaction. Join over 50,000 businesses using OpenPhone. Get 20% off 6 months at openphone.com/radio. They'll even port your existing numbers from another service for free. openphone.com/radio. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers.
Making sense of your world on the go. Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app.
This is for you.
Get the WMAL app on Google Play or the Apple App Store and stay connected.
My baby brother, a father. Come on, it's time for his nap. Whoa, he can't sleep on his stomach. Babies should always sleep on their backs in a safety-approved crib, and the sleep area should be clear of blankets, toys, and other loose or soft items. It reduces the risk of SIDS.
SIDS?
You know, sudden infant death syndrome.
Guess I need to start studying up on safe sleep for little man here. Being his favorite uncle comes with big responsibilities.
For more information, visit safetosleep.nichd.nih.gov. Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development.
Vince Colonnese is redefining news talk with The Vince Show.
This is unheard of in media. Dan Bongino is becoming deputy director of the FBI. I'm taking over on the Dan Bongino Show, which will now be The Vince Show. Just an advanced preview. It's going to be exhilarating. It is a reflection of your response to this program. Yeah, we get to take this thing to the next level. These gigantic shows right out the gate. This is going to be so much fun. It's unbelievable.
The Vince Show and Vince Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
For a local news source you can trust, visit WMAL.com.
Thank God for that.
Get the day's top stories, stream your favorite WMAL shows, access our podcast archives, and more. WMAL.com, making sense of your world online.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Making sense of your world.
Thank you for what you do.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
You give me hope.
Making sense of the news.
Mark Levin doesn't just read the news, he makes the news. Call the Mark Levin Show now at 877-381-3811.
All right, welcome back. It is the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one today. It is so nice to have you with us, and we've got a lot to chat about, including government waste, fraud, and abuse. If you just joined us, we are chatting about many in the government who are just sick and tired of the corruption, and many of them are coming forward and actually helping DOGE, from what I've been told from insiders, saying, hey, you want some really bad stuff? Like, you want to help us? Well, here's something you need to know about where there is massive government waste, fraud, and abuse. This is the best part about what is happening right now in our government. Another example of this, HHS Secretary Kennedy is now planning to cut 10,000 jobs. The Health and Human Services Secretary is expected to announce drastic changes to his department, including cutting 10,000 full-time employees and closing regional offices, according to documents outlining the plan. The cuts in the workforce are in addition to roughly 10,000 employees who chose to leave their jobs through voluntary separation plans after Donald Trump took office, this being well reported by the Wall Street Journal. The cuts include Food and Drug Administration, 3,500 full-time employees, or 19% of the workforce. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 2,400 employees, or about 18% of their workforce. National Institute of Health, 1,200 employees, or about 6% of their workforce. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, 300 employees, or 4% of their workforce. The plan would shrink the department to about 62,000 by removing 1/4 of its workforce and eliminating 5 of HHS's 10 regional offices, according to the documents, which add that essential health services will not be affected. The employees being let go are spread among departments nationwide that are tasked with the approvals of new drugs, providing insurance for the nation's poorest people, responding to disease outbreaks, and more. Those are the different issues that we're talking about here. The CDC, meanwhile, will return to its core mission of preparing for and responding to epidemics, according to documents. The cuts are not to come from divisions that focus on infectious diseases, an HSS official has confirmed. The reorganization further calls to, quote, centralize HHS communications, information technology, procurement, human resources, and policy planning efforts that are now distributed through the department's divisions and some branches. The secretary is also planning to create a new subdivision, the Administration for a Healthy America, combining HHS offices, addressing toxic substances, occupational safety, addiction, and more into one central office. We'll focus on programs addressing chronic disease prevention and health resources for low-income Americans. Kennedy, a frequent critic of the HHS in the past, ran for president, as you know, last year on a platform of addressing chronic disease in America. After he endorsed Trump in August, the two said they were going to make America, quote-unquote, healthy again. The Trump administration, through efforts by the Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk, has cut thousands of federal government employees. Several lawsuits, by the way, have been filed on challenging the people that are crying about, I should keep my job. They're not flinching, by the way. The cuts are not to affect the FDA's inspectors or food reviewers. Why am I telling you all this? Because you know what they're going to do. The left is going to tell you that you're going to get sick and die, and they're putting your health at risk by making these cuts. So that's why I want you to understand where the cuts are and where they're not. So again, this list I'm giving you right now is extremely important. I hope you'll share it with everyone you know, because you know the left's going to say, oh, well, we're not going to have any food inspectors out there. You're going to die of some terrible disease. Again, the facts, the cuts are not affecting the FDA's inspectors or food reviewers. And several FDA probationary workers who had been cut last month were rehired a week later. The plans also call for several offices to shift. They say the Administration for Strategic Preparedness and Response, which oversees the Strategic National Stockpile and Pandemic Preparedness Planning, is to be moved under the CDC rather than operating as it does now as a separate division. Kennedy's administration for a healthy America is to include the Health Resources and Services Administration as well, the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Health, the Substance Abuse, and the Mental Health Services Administration, along with two divisions under the CDC, the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry, and the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. Now, why does that matter? This reminds me of our government before 9/11. Before 9/11, the CIA wasn't really talking with the FBI, and the FBI wasn't really talking with others. They were all kind of separate, doing their own thing. And what we found out was some of the things that we missed before 9/11 were actually because there was too many turf wars. Like that's not your lane, that's my lane, that's our jurisdiction, not yours. And so what it seems like you're hearing from Kennedy here is that he's like, hey, we're going to get rid of this bureaucracy and all this crap, and we're going to put the groups together that need to be together, and we're not going to sit here and play turf wars when we're dealing with America's health. What a novel idea. Other offices relating to adjudicating or investigating disputes related to Medicare or other areas of HHS are going to be moved to be under a new Assistant Secretary of Enforcement. Again, consolidation, saving you money. The Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality, they say, will merge with the Assistant Secretary for Planning and Evaluations to form a new Office of Strategy. It's my favorite fake George Bush word there, strategy, you know what I'm saying. And programs for older adults, currently under the Administration for Community Living. Again, this is another example of them saying, why are we wasting all this money? Why are we having all of these different things under all these different agencies? And why can't they all work together and at the same time save Americans money? This is what it's all about. This is exactly why there are so many people right now that are so happy, and there's so many liberals that are so angry because they love government waste, because it empowers them. They love that the government traditionally, okay, I'm going to say it carefully, is a massive hiring force for like-minded radicals, liberals that have entrenched themselves in a way that I don't think any of us could have seen coming, to totally dictate to America a government bureaucracy filled with waste, fraud, and abuse, hooking each other's friends up. This is exactly what the American people voted for. It's exactly what the American people said that they wanted. Now, by the way, Chuck Schumer, he's like completely unhinged right now. Chuck Schumer had a press conference with other Democrats, and they lost it. Schumer really kind of went crazy. And what he said in his comments was that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are, quote, eroding the American dream with Doge.
Trump and Musk are just eroding the American dream. They're rigging the system for billionaires while stealing from the elderly, from the disabled, to cut taxes for their billionaire club.
I got to say, I love that. I really do. I love what he is saying there, because it's so absurd that I think the majority of Americans know just how ridiculous it is. They had this conference and they sit there and they're like, Elon Musk is eroding the American dream. How? By giving Americans more of their money back? By making more Americans can succeed because they may not have to pay as much in taxes in the future after we get rid of $1 trillion in government waste, fraud, and abuse? Like, I'm dead serious. Tell me how they're, and then they say, oh, and this is what they always go back to. They always go back to this, okay? Like they always go back to this. They say over and over and over again, anytime they want to derail a Republican idea, they say, oh, well, you know what they're going to do? They're going to take away your Social Security. They're going to take away your safety net. They're going to take away everything that you have. They're going to ruin your life, these evil, and they're going to give it to the rich, right? And then that gets the many seniors all up in arms. But I don't think right now it's working anymore. I actually believe they've said it for so long that the sky is falling, Chicken Little, yada yada yada. That it's done. Like I think people are just like, no, no, we don't believe you. We've heard you say this too many times. We've heard you say it too many times, and we don't believe you. We've heard you say it so much that we think you are just a liar, that you're lying to us constantly about this. So we actually don't believe you. We don't believe what you're saying, and we're not listening to it because we think you're full of crap. And that's the best part of all, is that the American people now they've overplayed their hand. And the American people understand it. Like, I really do believe this. I believe that the American people truly, truly understand it. And they're watching it and they're witnessing it. And they're like, yeah, no, like, we don't believe you. You can say this all you want, but we don't believe you. I want to get your phone calls in here. 1-877-381-3811. 1-877-381-3811. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one. Follow me on X. You can send me all your comments, by the way, on X, at Ben Ferguson Show. If you're on Instagram, follow me during the break, at Ben Ferguson Podcast. And make sure you grab my podcast, the Ben Ferguson Podcast, as well. And listen every day. I'd love to keep up with you there. We'll be right back.
Much love, Ben.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. That was made right here in America by the good folks at Allegiance Flag Supply. That's the first thought that crosses my mind when I see that beautiful hand-sewed American flag flying on the outside of my home. Friends, there's no better way to show your love of country, love for our troops, love of freedom than flying your American flag. But don't get a cheap, flimsy flag, one that's made overseas. Get an Allegiance flag. It tells a story. It was handcrafted in Charleston, South Carolina. All the components, from the flagpole to the spinners and the mounts, were sourced right here in the United States. An Allegiance flag shows support for your country and support for the hardworking men and women who make this country great. I encourage you to visit showallegiance.com. Experience the difference of a real American-made flag. Again, go to showallegiance.com. You'll save $35 off your complete flag set. That's showallegiance.com for American flags made the American way.
Award-winning series from Imperative Entertainment, Boomtown, In the Red Clay, Deviltown, Fox Hunter, In the Land of Lies. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
There's a whole lot missing here in this story, isn't there?
Every day.
Why are we the only ones reporting this?
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin' Brawling Street.
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This is Women's Work with Nicole Khalil.
I wish you health, physical, mental, emotional, financial, social, and most definitely spiritual.
Redefining what it means to be doing women's work.
I would rather have the temporary pain of discomfort than the avoidable pain of regret.
But hear me when I say this. Believe in something. Believe in yourself. That, more than anything, is absolutely woman's work.
This is Women's Work from Believe. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Your phone has a lot of apps, but how many of them help you make sense of your world? The new WMAL app gives you the latest headlines, perspective from the voices you trust, and weather info to keep you in the know, all without having to remember yet another password.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app.
Thank you.
Get the WMAL app today on Google Play or the Apple App Store, and stay connected. Around-the-clock updates and uncommon understanding.
Listen to this, because this stuff is going on behind the scenes and you don't know about it.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, professional race car driver here with cab driver Artie.
Professional cab driver.
Sorry, professional cab driver Artie. Drinking responsibly is knowing your limits. If you are over yours, ask Artie or someone like Artie to get you home safely. To learn more about drinking responsibly, go to beforeyoudrink.org.
So, you think I could take your number 26 Crown Royal race car for a spin?
Did you get out of there?
Be a champion. Drink responsibly. This message has been brought to you by the Century Council.
A message from the National Police Association. It used to be that any able-bodied person would offer to assist a police officer in danger. Now, passersby are more likely to take a video. There's a better use for your phone when an officer's in trouble. Call 911. Tell the operator where you are and what you see. Then start your video to provide evidence later.
Important Medicare news. Doge chief Elon Musk says all government spending is up for review, and the House plans to cut $800 million in healthcare costs. These cuts could hit Medicare and Medicaid. Now, Rob Finnerty is on Newsmax tonight, revealing the real Medicare crisis. Over 65 million people depend on Medicare, and Rob Finnerty says hardworking Americans that paid for it should get their full Medicare coverage. This week in his series Medicare in Crisis, Rob Finnerty looks at Medicare and why it faces bankruptcy. Big changes are ahead for Medicare. You need to watch Rob Finnerty tonight. Find Newsmax on all major cable systems or download the free Newsmax app on your phone now. Millions are switching to Newsmax because we're fighting for you.
Making sense of your world.
I can't believe this.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
And I am so with you.
Making sense of the news. WMAL. Making sense of social media. Because big tech can't be trusted. Download the WMAL app to stream us for free.
All right, so I just posted something during the break. I try to post something good for you guys. And this one, I really actually hope you guys will help go viral. It is just a classic example of like the left and how I believe it is a mental disease, what these people like believe. It says leftists, that's vandalism. And it's car burnout marks over their gay pride sidewalks. And then below it says also leftists. And it's literally burning Teslas to the ground. And they're like, that's protesting. Yeah. If you guys want to just hack off a lefty today, just go retweet it real quick at Ben Ferguson Show. You can find it there. I just put that picture up. It's amazing because it's so accurate, right? Like they're the ones who are like, oh, it's a hate crime if you do a burnout. Remember, they were like hunting down. They were actually hunting down people that did burnouts over their gay pride sidewalks and crosswalks, and they were like, put them in jail. They were wanting it to be a hate crime. But you torch Tesla dealerships and actually plant bombs at Tesla dealerships. Like, nope, totally good. And why? Because Elon Musk is taking away their power. He's taking away their power by stopping our funding going to the most ridiculous things in the world. Elon Musk, in his interview that he did with Brett Baer, Brett, by the way, did one hell of a job with this interview. I had the privilege of interviewing Elon Musk, the week before this. And Elon's one of these guys, like after meeting him, sitting down with him, talking with him, and interviewing him with Senator Cruz. We did this for the podcast we do, Verdict with Ted Cruz. We did a 2-part sit down with Elon. And afterwards, I'm like, dude, I want to work for you. I want to help you do this. I want to be your biggest advocate because what you understand is The left is trying to bankrupt him. They're trying to destroy his stock. They're trying to destroy his life's work. They're doing everything they can to hurt this man. He's genuinely concerned that he's going to be killed before his work with Doge is finished. And yet here he is, still sitting here with all these other brilliant minds around him, trying to stop our government from wasting our tax dollars. Something that Barack Obama advocated for in 2011, which I played for you earlier. And nobody was torching anything when Barack Obama said it. So what changed? One person, a Democrat. It was okay when they said it, and they knew they weren't actually going to do it. But a Republican says it and is actually doing it. And they're like, off with their heads.
In order to pass an audit, you need the information necessary to pass an audit. You need to have the payment codes, you need to have the payment explanation, and you need to have a person you can contact to understand why that payment was made. None of those things were mandatory until just recently, just a few weeks ago. In fact, maybe last week.
Yeah, we're serving 580 plus agencies. And up until very recently, effectively, they could say, make the payment, and Treasury just sent it out as fast as possible. No verification. And so what we're doing is what any household would do. But imagine you're a household, you have a bank account, everyone has an ATM card connected to that account, everyone has a checkbook connected to that account. It's not just your children, it's not just your parents, it's your in-laws, it's your extended family, and they all can go to the account and disperse funds. No questions asked, no justification, no verification.
It's insane. This goes back to the magic that money computers. This was something that Elon said in our interviews when we were sitting down and talking to him. And he was talking about these computers. I want to play this for you. This is from like a couple weeks ago. Listen.
Magic money computers. At the Treasury.
Well,
so tell us about it, because I never heard of that until you brought that up.
Okay, so you may think that the government computers like all talk to each other, they synchronize, they add up what funds are going somewhere, and it's it's coherent. There's and that the numbers, for example, that you're presented as a senator, are actually the real numbers.
One would think.
No, they're not. Yeah. Okay. I mean, they're not totally wrong, but they're probably off by 5% or 10% in some cases. So I call a magic money computer any computer which can just make money out of thin air. That's magic money.
So how does that work?
It just issues payments.
And you said there's something like 11 of these computers at Treasury that are sending out trillions in payments?
They're mostly at Treasury. Some are with the some at HHS. Some at there's one or two at State. There's some at DoD. I think we found now 14 magic money computers.
14, okay.
They just send money out of nothing.
Out of nothing. Magic money computers send money out of nothing. That is how our government has been operating. That's why they call it magic money computers. And there's 14 of these magic computers at the federal government. They just send money out of nothing. And now you understand why Democrats want this guy dead. For this exact reason right here. By the way, that clip, I just put it up on X, so share it. Make it a liberal angry. You can follow me at Ben Ferguson Show on X. Also, if you want to see that great picture of the Dems of what they say is anarchy compared to protests, it's up there as well. We'll be right back.
Making sense of your world.
Talk radio is where I get all of my information.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
This is Women's Work with Nicole Khalil.
I wish you health, physical, mental, emotional, financial, social, and most definitely spiritual.
Redefining what it means to be doing women's work.
I would rather have the temporary pain of discomfort than the avoidable pain of regret.
But hear me when I say this. Believe in something. Believe in yourself. That, more than anything, is absolutely woman's work.
This is Women's Work from Believe. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Making sense of your world on the go. Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app.
This is for you.
Get the WMAL app on Google Play or the Apple App Store and stay connected.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with all service members and their families. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, professional race car driver here with cab driver Artie.
Professional cab driver.
Sorry, professional cab driver Artie. Drinking responsibly is knowing your limits. If you are over yours, ask Artie or someone like Artie to get you home safely. To learn more about drinking responsibly, go to beforeyoudrink.org.
So, you think I could take your number 26 Crown Royal race car for a spin?
Did you get out of there?
Be a champion. Drink responsibly. This message has been brought to you by the Century Council.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
WMAL News at 7. I'm Heather Curtis. President Trump telling the House to immediately take up what he calls the D.C. funding fix bill passed by the Senate that spares the city from cutting $1 billion from its current budget. He says the city must become safe and clean again, which is the goal of the executive order he signed last night. Mayor Muriel Bowser says she's pleased that President Trump supports the House passing the bill, and she looks forward to their swift action. Work on Maryland's budget continued today. The Senate put its version on the floor after getting the one passed by the House on Wednesday. The House version closes the state's nearly $3 billion deficit through a combination of $2 billion in tax cuts and $1 billion in taxes and fees. Senate President Bill Ferguson says his chamber's version also includes a 3% tax on IT services, but they're still trying to figure out which services it will apply to.
We're trying to evaluate some of these technology services, sales taxes from other states who have kind of litigated this quite a bit to understand which ones would be most appropriate for Maryland.
Senate Minority Leader Steve Hershey slamming Democrats for not having specifics about the tax, yet expecting the chamber to approve it. He says that's not the way you craft public policy. Federal employee union leaders and members of Congress protesting one of President Trump's latest executive orders on the Hill today. It seeks to end collective bargaining at agencies involved with national security. The White House says the president's order allowed to do this under the Civil Service Reform Act. American Federation of Government Employees President Everett Kelly.
Now, it's ridiculous to think that the union security wasn't a security issue during the Cold War, during Desert Storm, during the war on terror, and the Trump first term, but all of a sudden, they are not. Something is seriously wrong in this thing.
The White House adding President Trump, quote, refuses to let union obstruction interfere with his efforts to protect Americans and our national interests, unquote. They allegedly stole high-end perfume and hair products in a theft spree across the region. Now, a trio has been arrested.
For crimes spanning from last November to just 2 weeks ago, 2 adults and 1 teenager are in custody, believed to have taken $180,000 plus in goods from area Ulta beauty stores. 15 incidents are known, with 7 alone in Fairfax County, where Police Chief Kevin Davis credits a team effort involving police from counties and advances in license plate readers.
To go beyond the license plate, make, model, color, defect, it gives police officers many more options to be more tactical and surgical in what we're looking for.
The trio's vehicle was spotted in Annapolis Mall. That led to their arrest. Scott Lynn on WMAL and WMAL.com.
The suspense is over. The Tidal Basin cherry blossoms are now officially at peak bloom.
If not today, it's definitely going to be tomorrow.
Park Service spokesman Mike Litters tried to be coy about it when he dropped in on WMAL's O'Connor and Company, but then the tweet arrived at 10:21 this morning that peak bloom had been achieved.
We're going to go from mid-30s last night, and it's going to be in the 80s tomorrow. So the trees are getting whiplash like the rest of us, I think.
Expect massive crowds and a lot of construction if you venture down to the Tidal Basin where the seawall is being repaired.
But all the walkway, the entire way around the Tidal Basin is still open.
Happy blooming. John Matthews on WMAL and WMAL.com.
Traffic and weather next.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them, because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to MasaChips.com and use code MM30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips. Real ingredients, unreal crunch.
Hey, y'all. As a growing family, my husband and I love game night, especially when it's Wayfair edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting Wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guaranteed details at turbotax.com/guaranteed. Available with TurboTax Live.
Traffic and weather on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Here's Michelle Murray in the Hadid Carpet Cleaning Traffic Center.
In Upper Marlboro, you will still find police activity that has the ramp from southbound Pennsylvania Avenue to Woodyard Road closed at this time. Also, there is accident activity right now in Landover on Maryland 214 east of Landover Road and on Central Avenue at Enterprise Road. In addition, there is accident activity in the district on Nebraska Avenue south of Temley Circle and on Montana Avenue south of Rhode Island Avenue in Northeast. Earlier crash in Garrisonville, Aquia on northbound 95 at exit 143 now clear, but traffic is still jammed from Courthouse Road. Now from GarageDoorRepair.com, the WMAL Stormwatch 7 forecast.
A stray shower or two this evening and into the overnight as temperatures drop to the 50s by early tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, a very warm day, upper 70s to middle 80s with mostly cloudy skies. Showers are likely on Sunday. I'm 7 News meteorologist Steve Rudin of the First Alert Weather Center.
Right now, 66 degrees in McLean, 64 in Burtonsville, and 69 degrees under cloudy skies here in Washington. I'm Heather Curtis on News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. Mark Levin.
He's here. Now broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hour 2, Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one. He's resting his voice today. He'll be back with you on Monday. It is great to have you with us. How much do you love saving money as a taxpayer when it comes to waste, fraud, and abuse? Well, majority of Americans in polls are showing they're loving what Elon Musk is doing. Even as unhinged drivers are, well, going crazy on the roadways, even attacking Tesla drivers. There is a new video that is out from Donald Trump, and it is a video of an unhinged driver wiping out, or I should say, whipping out a gun on a Cybertruck during a road rage incident. Yes, that actually happened. These people are totally insane. Now, why? It is because, very clearly, they hate the fact that this man is changing the government and taking away the waste, the fraud, and the abuse that is going to leftist and radical organizations. Elon Musk and Doge also revealed something about Social Security and fraud that should make every American angry. I'm all in favor of people getting Social Security that deserve it, those that are actually entitled to it, but not those that are not. And how bad is the fraud within Social Security? Listen to this.
We learned 40% of the phone calls that they get are from fraudsters.
40%.
That's right. Almost half.
Yes, and they steal people's Social Security is what happens. Is they call in, they say, they claim to be a retiree, then they convince the Social Security person on the phone to change where the money's flowing. It actually goes to some fraudster. This is happening all day, every day. And then somebody doesn't receive their Social Security. It's because of all the in the Social Security system.
How do you reassure people that what you all are doing is not going to affect their benefits?
No, in fact, what we're doing will help with their benefits. Legitimate people, as a result of the work of Doge, will receive more Social Security numbers. I want to emphasize that. As a result of the work of Doge, legitimate recipients of Social Security will receive more money, not less money.
All right.
I want to emphasize that point and let the record show that I said this, and it will be proven out to be true. Let's check back on this in the future.
So, Washington Post, the Social Security Administration website crashed 4 times in 10 days this month because the servers were
You go back to just the basics. 40% of all the calls to Social Security are fraudsters. Fraudsters call in, claim to be the retiree, and then they convince the operator to change where the money is flowing. That seems like a problem that you should probably fix and maybe adjust. Now, what does the left say? Oh, the left's like, no, you don't understand. You can't do anything or stop anything that deals with correcting these problems because we love the fraud. We love the waste. I mean, the Department of Labor has just canceled $577 million in America Last grants, including for gender equity in the, quote, Mexican workplace. I think we can all agree, if you're sane, that is a good thing. I played for you earlier Barack Obama saying the word government efficiency over and over again back in 2011, saying we need to get our federal debt under control. Like, that is what he was saying back then. No Democrats were burning up things back then because he said it, right? Like, no one was burning the place down. No one was. I'll give you another example here. You look at the mission of HHS, making sure that we have the best biomedical research in the world. This is going to help save lives in America. This is something that DOGE actually talked about. So you don't think that, and the staffer, Brad Smith, discussed DOGE's efforts to make sure that their mission is actually carried out. Listen.
Well, I'd say there's a couple of things we're really committed to in our work at HHS. Number one, making sure we continue to have the best biomedical research in the world. And number two, making sure, which President Trump has said over and over again, that we 100% protect Medicare and Medicaid. But there's a lot of opportunity. So if I take NIH as an example, today, if you're an NIH researcher and you get a $100 grant at your university, today you get to spend 60 of that and your university spends 40 of that. The policy that we're proposing to make is that you get to spend 85 of that and your university spends 15. So that's more money going directly to the scientists who are discovering new cures. Another example at NIH is today they have 27 different centers. They got created over time by Congress, and they're typically by disease state or body system. There's 700 different IT systems today at NIH.
700 different IT systems.
IT software systems. They can't speak to each other.
So they don't talk to one another.
They have 27 different CIOs. And so when you think about making great medical discoveries, you have to connect the data.
Time out. You said 27 different chief information officers?
Correct.
And most of them are non-technical.
So there's a lot there.
There's a lot of opportunity. It will make science better, not worse.
27 people with the same title. That's absurd. I think we can all agree that doesn't serve the American people well. That doesn't fix any of the problems, right? That is a disaster. I think we all can agree that is a disaster. By the way, you look at the interior, for example. Here's what they're working on tirelessly over there to save you money.
You're reviewing contracts before they're approved for funding. What do you find?
Well, Elon and Steve kind of stole my thunder a little bit, but I actually found that customer service survey contract. I actually have an example of one right here. I could have done this in high school, and I found it. I found it on the weekends because under the Biden administration, there was no departmental oversight within the Department of Interior whatsoever. None. We are now reviewing every single contract, every single grant, and when things come to my attention that don't make sense, I'm bringing them to Secretary Burgum, and he's been fantastic. He's a businessman. He's very supportive of DOGE. It's been wonderful.
I mean, this is just simple insanity. The team is working every day, including weekends, to save taxpayer dollars and help balance the federal budget so we can pay down the national debt. They've individually reviewed 36,000 plus interior grants and contracts and have identified massive amounts of waste, fraud, and abuse already. He said this is just common sense effort of government efficiency, and that's what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to ruin anybody's life. We're not trying to destroy anybody's life. We're not trying to do anything but give you sensible accountability. You go back to this, and this should make you enraged. Let's talk about the over $300 million of Small Business Administration government loans you paid for, and where were they going? Elon Musk exposed that as well.
If, for example, there were over $300 million of Small Business Administration loans that has been given out to people under the age of 11.
Well, actually, to add to it, it's 300 million under the age of 11 and over 300 million to over the age of 120.
Definitely.
Small business loans, correct?
Yes. The oldest American is 114. So it's safe to say if their age is 115 or above, they're fake. Or they should be in the Guinness Book of World Records. And we should not be giving out loans to babies. So the youngest recipient of a Small Business Administration loan is a 9-month-old, which is a very, very cautious baby we're talking about here. So obviously it was just fraudulent. And they do terrible things. They actually will see that a kid's been born. They will steal that kid's social security number and then take out a loan and leave that kid with a bad credit rating. And there was literally a baby. The terrible things are being done is what we're saying. If, for example, there were
terrible things are being done is what we're saying. You have a recipient of the SBA loan that is a 9-month-old, obviously, which is fraudulent. Like, how the hell did you even think to send out a loan to a 9-month-old? I can tell you exactly how this stuff happens. It's called bribery. The Democratic Party, through SBA, decided to give out loans to people they knew didn't deserve them. And the reason why was actually very clear. Because they wanted to buy their votes. That's it. Like, that's the whole ball game here. They wanted to say, here's money from us. We know you don't deserve this money, but this is what we are doing. We're giving you this money, right? We're giving you this money. I rarely, by the way, I agree with Kevin McCarthy, but what Kevin McCarthy said on Fox News Channel, like, I'm just not a Kevin McCarthy guy, right? I think he's kind of a rhino. I'm not a fan, but I'll give credit where credit's due. Kevin McCarthy actually said it right when it came to the issue of Doge, and here's what he said.
Every hardworking taxpayer sit back and say, I have somebody working for me. If you wanted to go out and get this work done, we would pay billions of dollars. Here's the brightest minds, not just in America, in the world, volunteering, sacrificing, and he's getting attacked. I mean, terrorist attacks against his companies because he's fighting for the individual. That's what's so amazing to me. The more he does.
Did you hear that Las Vegas Tesla terrorist that they nabbed federal charges? He's like a member of the Communist Party. They're like every left-wing, progressive, out-of-control group he's a member of.
Yeah.
Of course.
Attacking electric cars.
Yeah.
So
that's what. So these individuals who volunteered their time are burrowing in, and what they're really finding out, Kevin, is that these government systems, which even back in the 80s I saw were completely outdated, are not only outdated, they're kind of dangerous in a way because they make us vulnerable.
These are systems when the computer first started. We're modernizing so you can catch, so you have accountability in government. Everything everybody says they want in their government, they're providing. And it's going to save tremendous amount of money, one, for the taxpayer. It's going to provide greater service to the constituents. This is what people crave to be able to make happen.
By the way, I agree with him. I just have to point out the obvious. Where was this Kevin McCarthy when he was the Speaker of the House? Why wasn't he going after waste, fraud, and abuse when he was one of the guys that was advocating basically internally for massive government expenditures, increases in spending? Now, what he said here, I can agree with. I wish this was the guy that would have been in charge of the Republican Party a long time ago. Like, these are all of the major issues now that we're talking about, that the American people are focused on, that the American people want. And it's about saving you money. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one, Mark Levin. Don't forget all of these clips. I'll put them up on social media. You can follow me on X at Ben Ferguson Show. If you're on Instagram, at Ben Ferguson Podcast. And if you haven't checked out my new podcast, it's called the 47 Morning Update. It is a 10-minute podcast of the 3 biggest stories coming out of the White House every day. Grab it. It has been a really fun success since the day he was inaugurated. So during the break, subscribe to that. It's free. The 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson. Grab it as well. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
You know, I'm tired of scrolling through shows on TV and finding nothing but the same mind-numbing content. Don't waste the precious little time you have with that nonsense when you could be learning something new, inspiring, exciting. Hillsdale College is offering more than 40 free online courses. Learn about the works of the great C.S. Lewis, the stories in the books of Genesis, the meaning of our Constitution, or the history of the ancient Christian church with Hillsdale College's free online courses. I'm personally enjoying the Genesis story. Genesis is a book of fundamental importance for the Jewish and Christian faiths and has exerted a profound influence on Western civilization. Sign up for the Genesis story and all the other stories now for free. Learn some of the work's major narrative themes. Go right now to levinforhillsdale.com to enroll. That's Levin for Hillsdale.com. There's no cost. It's easy to get started. That's levinforhillsdale.com to register. Levin for Hillsdale.com.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them. Because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to masachips.com and use code MM30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips, Unreal Crunch.
Hey y'all, it's Caitlin and Kane Brown here with Wayfair. As a growing family, one of our favorite things is Game Night Wayfair Edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
I was choosing alcohol over my family. That's when I made the call. Now I'm finding better ways to cope.
Mental health care works when you make the call. Visit mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Making sense of your world on the go. Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app. This is for you. Get the WMAL app on Google Play or the Apple App Store and stay connected.
Happy kids heal faster. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation delivers happiness through gaming, toy deliveries, and more to hospitals across the country. Learn more at starlight.org.
Making sense of your world.
This is no conspiracy theory. This is a fact. Here it is.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 to 9 p.m.
Listen to this, would you?
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
Bright Focus Foundation's Alzheimer's Disease Research Program is paving the way for a cure. Learn about symptoms, diagnosis, and breakthrough research at brightfocus.org or call us at 1-855-345-6237 for free resources.
75 years of research, 75 years of policy,
75 years of opportunity,
75 years of freedom.
This is 75 years of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Join us at mda75.org.
We're with Bridget, whose husband won't be home for months and whose daughter is due any day. We're with all service members and their families. Are you with them? Learn more at uso.org today.
Clarity and context for a complex world.
I'm going to be far more thorough and specific than ever before.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. And that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before. Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Just call or click to see how much you can save today. Because when it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or consumercellular.com today. Real people pay to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Making sense of your world.
Thank you for your clear insight.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
This is a major wake-up call.
Making sense of the news.
Monday on the Chris Plain Show, Doge wants to know why 2.4 million government employees were issued 4.2 million credit cards. 9 a.m. on WMAL.
Welcome back. It is the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one. You're going to love this. The CIA director, John Radcliffe, has invited Elon Musk to the CIA this coming Monday to discuss government efficiency at Doge, specifically at the agency. Yes, even the CIA is going to be getting a haircut. You got to love that. Saving us money. Let's talk about the lawfare real quick. What has been the Democrats' move to try to stop all this? It has been lawfare. You have a lot of activist judges that are out there doing everything they can to obstruct the president's agenda, not respecting the president or the will of the people who voted him in overwhelmingly, winning the popular vote as well in every swing state in America. And that's exactly what has happened with these judges. Now, unfortunately, there is a consistent theme in almost all of this. Follow the money. It's almost every single time the same thing. Follow the money. Nearly every activist federal judge obstructing the president's agenda, Doge says, has one thing in common. What is it?
Are you surprised at some of the legal efforts and some of the judges that have weighed in? There's about 8 or 10 now of these cases that are at least temporary holds. They're being challenged by the DOJ.
Right.
Are you surprised by that pushback?
Well, it's the DC Circuit is notorious for having a very far left bias, and when you look at the people close to some of these judges, where are they working? Oh, they're working at these NGOs. Oh, they're the ones getting this money. Does that seem like a system that lacks corruption? Sounds like corruption to me.
Yeah, I mean, you listen to Elon Musk say that, and he's just so matter of fact about it. You want to know why these activist federal judges are obstructing the president's agenda? Because they got a spouse or child that's drawing a major paycheck from a Democrat-aligned non-governmental agency, an NGO, a non-governmental office. And so what Donald Trump has done is his policies have directly undercut these NGOs, creating a glaring conflict of interest. Now, there is some good news finally on this. The appeals court has just cleared the way for Trump to fire leaders of the independent federal agencies. The ruling is a major victory, quote unquote, for Trump's effort to control regulatory bodies that Congress intended to operate with some independence. Politico reporting at this hour that a federal appeals court has cleared the way for the president to fire members of the executive branch boards that oversee federal employee grievances and labor disputes across the nation. The ruling today is a victory for Trump's efforts to exert control over the regulatory agencies that, in my opinion, are clearly been out of control for far too long. That Congress intended to operate with some degree of independence from the president. Federal laws limit the president's ability to remove the board members who oversee those agencies. But the Trump administration has argued those limits are, quote, unconstitutional. I'm going to put it this way. Hell yes, they are. And now we have a court system that's agreeing. 1-877-381-3811. Ben Ferguson filling in for Mark Levin. You can send me your comments as well on X. Follow me Ben Ferguson Show on Instagram, Ben Ferguson Podcast. And grab my podcast as well. We'll be right back.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
Oh, that's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
You know, Americans love using their credit cards, one of the most secure and hassle-free ways to pay. But DC politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com, guardyourcard.com, paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
WMAL traffic. This report has DMV delays continuing to deal with evening jammed traffic congestion. Prince George's County's got slowdowns reported in Greenbelt on the BW Parkway southbound stretch between Greenbelt Road and 410. Northbound BW Parkway also below speed, but you'll find that congestion excessive between 202 and 197. An accident shuts down Leesburg Pike's eastbound stretch between Sully Road and City Center Boulevard in Loudoun County.
Tonight, partly cloudy with scattered showers, low around 57. Tomorrow, partly sunny, high near 84.
Making sense of your morning.
Lots of coverage here on that developing story.
O'Connor and Company. Weekday mornings from 5 to 9.
Larry O'Connor here getting you through your morning.
Making sense of Washington.
Asking some very specific questions, some legitimate questions.
Making sense of the double standard.
And here's the latest example.
Making sense of the headlines.
Let me break it down for you, because there's plenty to break down here.
O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor. Mornings from 5 to 9. News Talk 105.9. WMAL. Making sense of the news.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, professional race car driver here with cab driver Artie.
Professional cab driver.
Sorry, professional cab driver Artie. Drinking responsibly is knowing your limits. If you are over yours, ask Artie or someone like Artie to get you home safely. To learn more about drinking responsibly, go to beforeyoudrink.org.
So, you think I could take your number 26 Crown Royal race car for a spin?
Did you get out of there?
Be a champion. Drink responsibly. This message has been brought to you by the Century Company.
Happy kids heal faster. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation delivers happiness through gaming, toy deliveries, and more to hospitals across the country. Learn more at starlight.org.
When your business information is missing or inconsistent across the internet, search engines won't find you, and customers won't either. Help ensure customers see you and not your competitors. Boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
Why did I wait so long to see a retina specialist?
Retinal disease can steal your eyesight, but it doesn't have to. Patients who seek care from a retina specialist have the best chance of preventing vision loss due to age-related macular degeneration or diabetic retinopathy. AMD symptoms to look out for are distortion or warping of straight lines, as well as blurred or loss of central vision. Patients with diabetic retinopathy should seek treatment if they notice the appearance of spots or floaters or blurred and distorted vision. Visit seeforalifetime.org.
The Sean Ryan Show presents Peak Points. Get timeless inspiration from the very best of the Sean Ryan Show.
September 11th happens. What is the first thing that went through your head? September 12th, I'm going back in the military.
Talk about being recruited by the cartel. How do you cope? Just learning how to find a new normal.
One of the most tragic events in American firefighter history. You know what comes after.
You have this beautiful life. You have these horrible experiences, yes, but you can do something with them for the greater good.
The Sean Ryan Show Peak Points. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Sunny Look type. I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 2. The braver than you think type.
I have to take insulin shots every single day.
The type that will stop at nothing.
No more blood sugar tests.
Absolutely nothing. No more complications. Until type 1 becomes type none.
Support JDR.
Bottom line. Excuse me. My Angie, I'm fucking a little raspy the last day or two. Well, it's actually been longer than that. Fucking weather. The bottom line is, I live in your head, JC. You can't stop thinking about me. And you just blocked me. And it's true. When I met you, you said you were divorced, and your ex-husband was in the hospital or in a home. He's had kidney disease and was having to take dialysis.
Making sense of your world.
That's like a 4-hour procedure.
Making sense of the news. Know the news the minute you wake up. O'Connor and Company with Larry O'Connor.
You're welcome to come up and tell me what I lied about, JC, because you're the liar. JC's the liar. JC lies. She's never going to admit that her fucking shortcomings.
All right, welcome back. It is the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one. It is nice to have you with us. Nearly every activist federal judge obstructing the president's agenda has a spouse or child drawing a paycheck from a Democrat-aligned NGO. That coming from Elon Musk in his interview that he did on Fox News Channel with Brett Baer. This should make every American furious.
Are you surprised at some of the legal efforts and some of the judges that have weighed in? There's about 8 or 10 now of these cases that are at least temporary holds. They're being challenged by the DOJ. Are you surprised by that pushback?
Well, it's the DC Circuit is notorious for having a very far left bias, and when you look at the people close to some of these judges, where are they working? Oh, they're working at these NGOs. Oh, they're the ones getting this money. Does that seem like a system that lacks corruption? It sounds like corruption to me.
Sounds like corruption to me. Let's go to your phone calls. 1-877-381-3811. On, I think it's line 4. David in New York, welcome. You are on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one. Hi. David, you got me? How are you?
Hi, how's it going?
Good, sir. How are you?
Look, the question I have is this, right? If any of these federal judges can just do this, what would happen if a different federal judge just did the opposite and said, you know what, we're going to allow Trump to deport people? Wouldn't that force everything to the Supreme Court immediately?
Well, it would work its way through the case. I'm not sure it would go directly. And again, I want to be clear. I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to play an attorney on TV or radio either. But what I will say is the way that this is moving through the court system, and a great example of this is what I said before the break about the appeals court clearing the way for Trump to fire leaders of these independent federal agencies. Like, Trump has an incredible team around him this time that is so much better than the team he had in 2016. And you look at this ruling Friday being a massive victory for Trump's efforts to have control over these regulatory agencies that Congress intend to operate with, quote, some degree of independence from the president. And that's what are losing their minds over. But the president is saying, I should have the ability to do this. I am the president to remove some of these people. Now, this 3-judge panel of D.C. District Court of Appeals voted 2-1 to allow Trump to remove members of the National Labor Relations Board and the Merit System Protection Board. The 2 board members in the case were appointed by President Joe Biden. Lower court judges have issued injunctions, right, because they're going into lawfare with Trump for firing the 2 board members. But this Friday's appeal court ruling lifts those injunctions for now while the litigation is going to proceed. I think a lot of this stuff is going to end up going to the Supreme Court. And I think that Donald Trump, more times than not, is going to win because some of this is just so brazen. And look, the President of the United States of America should not have to fight every single day with activist judges that are clearly there to undermine the president's agenda, which ultimately is the American voters' agenda. This is where Americans should be highly offended and upset. That we are sitting in what I describe as a fraudulent system. This reminds me, if you've never watched the movie The Big Short, do it. It's about the housing crisis and the market collapse back in 2008, and just how insane it was that the regulatory agencies were giving great they were basically selling ratings of AAA rated bonds for fees. The whole system was fraudulent. And one of the lines in the movie is, well, at least people are going to go to jail for this. And finally, there would be some of this corruption. Out of all of the fraud and corruption that the government was, I don't even think asleep at the wheel for. I think they were purposely looking the other way because of what we're seeing now with Doge. And everybody was hooking everybody's brother up. Like all these activist judges have their family members, that are on these NGOs getting paid. And you look at that accusation, I don't think the federal government was asleep at the wheel with the housing and the subprime market and everything else. I think their friends were getting rich off the fees. And it reminds me so much of that, where the government is willing to protect the people around them if they're all getting paid. There are a lot of people that are acting just like the Biden crime family within our government. And I would tell you, go and watch that movie if you didn't do it, or read the book, The Big Short, because it explains it. There was only one person in all of that corruption that had and then there was a government bailout. Remember, the American taxpayers got screwed. The system was filled with so much corruption that the falling of the system, the Lehman Brothers and everybody and Countrywide getting shut down and everything else that happened during that time, it was going to be so catastrophic that what happened? The American taxpayer bailed them all out. And they bailed them out, and no one was really held accountable for it. You had a lot of people that were hurt. You had a lot of people that lost their homes. You had a lot of people that were lied to by lenders. You had regulatory agencies that had their family and friends getting hooked up with these incredible fees. And it just shows you the level of the corruption. Now, it's at every level in our government. Every level. And then when you see all of these judges that are activist judges trying to stop Doge, you got to ask yourself the question, okay, well, why? Why? Just answer that question, why? Why are you trying to stop us? Because they are activist judges. And they want to stop President Trump at all costs. Because for them, they believe that they are above the law. They don't believe the law applies to them. They believe they get to do whatever they want to do, however they want to do it, whenever they want to do it. They are a judge, and they also, by the way, believe that Donald Trump can just shut the hell up and sit down. They can't stand him. They don't respect the voters, and that's where you should be offended. You should be highly offended that they are saying you need to shut up. You need to sit down. You need to be quiet. Right? Like, that's what you need to do. You need to shut the hell up and be quiet. We know what's best, and we don't respect your vote or any election outcome. That is how corrupt the system is in D.C. I appreciate the phone call, Dave. It's good to talk to you. Let me go to line 3 to Rob in Montgomery City, Maryland. You are on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson with you. Hello.
Hey, Ben, thanks for taking the call. Yeah, the People's Republic of Montgomery County.
Love it.
Yeah. If it walks with 4 legs and has spots, there's 2 critters, right? There's a leopard of the animals on our planet, and a cheetah. And these peoples are more like cheetahs, the people that are perpetrating all this. And, Mr. Schumer, Senator Schumer, let the cat out of the bag completely a couple days ago. And he was on the TV, said, we did this purposefully to get all these lawyers, give them these judgeships so they could play lawfare again. Okay. All these people do is plan on how they can stay in power on the other side of the fence. They really, it has gotten to be, and the old adage about throwing grandma over the cliff, about the Medicare, that's such BS. Most of the American people know that that's just lies.
Look, they've been using the fear-mongering line for so long. When I was working with the Bush administration back in 2004, we tried to reform Social Security reform because we knew it was a Ponzi scheme then. We knew it was not serving the American people well. We knew it was a real problem. And one of the things that was very, 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 very clear from when we tried to reform it was every time we tried to touch it or explain it or to give it people a new way of looking about how bad of a deal you're getting on your ROI when you put in Social Security, the left would just say they're going to steal your money, they're going to take it away from you, you're not going to have it, they're going to ruin it, they're going to privatize it, and they're going to take it all, it's going to fail, it's going to be a Ponzi scheme, it's going to be corrupt as hell, don't trust Wall Street, don't trust, it was the same line, and it worked with old people. We saw it in the data, like it worked, it really did. It was incredibly frustrating, but let me just tell you, it worked. It worked unbelievably well. And that was sad. But they've been now saying it. I see it like every day. They've been saying it over and over again since 2004. It's edge. Like it really has just kind of lost its, like, you got to sit there and almost laugh. You got to sit there and just be like, all right, here we go again. Like, I don't know what other way to put it. Here we go again. Now they're going to lie to us again. They're going to say this crap again. And there's just an eye-rolling aspect to this now, and that's the part that I love.
It's theater. It's all theater. You remember Wall Street, right, with Gecko?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a beautiful movie. But, this is the inmates guarding the asylum, and I think the American people, the majority, that's why we voted Mr. Trump in and whatnot. Hopefully, it's going to take... It took a long time to get it to where it is now, so it's going to take a while.
Well, look at this goes back to what you said. Listen to Schumer. I'm going to play the longer version. This is Chuck Schumer going after Elon Musk and Donald Trump at this press conference with the Senate Democrats and the Trump administration's changes, quote unquote, Social Security. This goes back to fear mongering. This happened this week, 2 days ago.
The acting commissioner, handpicked by DOJ, said Musk's claims of fraud are false. And Musk, by the way, at one point said, let's eliminate it. They've revealed their true colors. Trump and Musk are just eroding the American dream. They're rigging the system for billionaires while stealing from the elderly, from the disabled, to cut taxes for their billionaire club. Senate Republicans, every Senate Republican should be demanding that Musk reverse the firings. If they say they believe in Social Security, then they ought to be telling Musk stop. But Senate Republicans are just silent, letting it happen. They're afraid of Trump. Now, yesterday, at the hearing in the Finance Committee, which Ron and Maria were at, we heard from Trump's pick to lead the Social Security Administration, Frank Bisignano. To confirm Mr. Bisignano as head of Social Security is hiring an arsonist to run the fire station. I've known this guy for 20 years. He's a cutter. Companies bring him in to slash benefits, companies bring him in to slash workers. And his claim to fame is cutting and shrinking. The last person we need to run the Social Security office.
The fear mongering there. Right, sky is falling. You can't trust them. They're evil, and yet the American people, I just think they've overplayed the hand. I think the American people don't believe him when he speaks anymore. Do you agree with me?
Oh, yeah, he's desperate. Yeah, he needs to be gone. And he came right out and said they purposefully, like I said, I think it might have been the same press conference, said that they hired all these lawyers, they were formerly lawyers, activists, which had all this background of getting NGO money through someone in the family, what you were just talking about, what Elon has been talking about. Look, these people that we have running the show right now are all patriots and heroes. They love the country. Trump didn't have to run at all. He could have said, you know what, I've had it with all this. But he knows that if this was going to continue, and a lot of other people that have any kind of parcel of common sense, knows that the game's going to be over. We're $36 trillion in debt. So anyway, God bless all of them. Thank you again for taking my call.
Hey, man, good to talk to you. I appreciate it. 1-877-381-3811. Ben Ferguson filling in. You can follow me on X, Ben Ferguson Show there. Send your comments there. Read them all. Also on Instagram, Ben Ferguson Podcast. And grab my podcast, The Ben Ferguson Show. And if you like a short podcast, each and every morning I do a new one called the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson. It's a 10-minute show with the 3 biggest stories coming out of the White House. If you want something short and quick with big news coming out of the White House, grab that one as well. We'll be right back.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
After more than a year of war, terror, and pain in Israel, the need for security essentials and support for first responders is critical. Even in times of ceasefire, Israel must be prepared for the next attack, wherever and whenever it may come, as Israel is surrounded by enemies on all sides. The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews has supported and will continue to support the people of Israel with life-saving security essentials. Your tax-deductible gift today will help save lives by providing bomb shelters, armed security vehicles and ambulances, flak jackets and bulletproof vests, and so much more. So your generous support today will help the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews work to ensure the people of Israel in the Holy Land are safe and secure in the days to come. Your help saves lives, and it gives hope. Call 844-866-IFCJ. That's 844-866-IFCJ. They need your help, folks. 844-866-IFCJ.
Hey, I'm Reba McIntyre. In life, you'll hear a lot of people tell you that you can do anything you want. I'm here to tell you that's true. Since I was a little girl, I dreamed of becoming a successful singer and entertainer. It took a lot of hard work, dedication, and perseverance to find my success, but it was worth it. I never gave up on my dreams. Remember, you can never have a dream come true until you've had a dream. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
My baby brother, a father. Come on, it's time for his nap. Whoa, he can't sleep on his stomach. Babies should always sleep on their backs in a safety-approved crib, and the sleep area should be clear of blankets, toys, and other loose or soft items. It reduces the risk of SIDS. SIDS? You know, sudden infant death syndrome.
Guess I need to start studying up on safe sleep for little man here. Being his favorite uncle comes with big responsibilities.
For more information, visit safetosleep.nicehd.nih.gov. Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute of Child Health and Human Development.
How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call
my nose itches
immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org.
That
Brought to you by the
fucking beard
American Stroke
tickles.
Association and the Ad Council.
Making sense of your
Feels so
world.
much better. I got all that hair cut off. I ain't gonna fuck with it.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 to 9 p.m.
Listen to this, would you?
News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Doing what you've been doing for about 5 years, anyways, JC. Sitting here watching Vegas chat with an account you'll never be able to block. I don't have to go incognito.
I'm not friends with Tamara anymore, which is fine. Do you feel like you guys can repair? No, stick to what you know.
Iconic.
Absolutely fantastic. It is like the Super Bowl every episode.
Always crying about people talking about you, and you're fucking here. You are in Vegas, bringing up my name and talking about picking my nose, and you know, you've gone from potato to now it's picking my nose, and I shit my pants. And JC, you're not a strong woman. If you were a strong woman, you'd come up here on my panel. And you're proud to be the first one up here when I went live. You know, I was kind enough to welcome you then. Now look at you. All you want to do is attack me with all your fucking little friends because I beat you guys up. Yeah, I beat you. Yeah. Fucking we got Paul Bitch Life there, no hustle. I'm calling him now. Then you got Vanguard. You got these fuckers that you get Whippermail. It says we don't know our history.
The Association for Mature American Citizens right now. I'm not kidding. You care
And
about
Billy, why do more Dutch immigrate to, or Americans immigrate to his country than they do here?
conservative values.
he just
Protecting your social security.
something ain't right.
And listen to this right now. When you sign up for
And then you guys who just love Whippy. Oh, Whippy. Yeah, Whippy, all right. Fuck it, he's a real whip.
amac.us/LEVIN. Join today. AMAC is growing fast because patriots like you are joining the fight. They give you exclusive, unbelievable discounts and benefits on travel, insurance, and so much more. But most importantly, they give you a voice in Washington. So don't wait. Join the Association of Mature American Citizens.
You too, Gurf. You keep me blocked. And it gets to the point where you make a comment because of what they're talking about, because I'm about the most talked about fucking person in that chat. They come in there and they try to bait me and bode me and every fucking thing. So Brian Ferguson.
They are when it comes to wanting to take out Elon Musk. Let me just give you this story. The Tesla takedown movement, which organized protests against Elon Musk and his role in the Trump administration, is gearing up for its biggest demonstrations yet. While protests planned around the world this weekend on its global day of action. You ready for some psychopaths? Well, if you want to know who the enemy is, they're going to show their face. USA Today is now reporting that the Tesla takedown movement, a growing backlash against Elon Musk, and his involvement in the Trump administration, the Department of Government Efficiency, is urging protesters to sell their Tesla vehicles, dump their stock, trying to ruin Elon Musk, and join picket lines in front of Tesla locations worldwide. The movement's website is declared this Saturday, the 29th, as a global day of action, with dozens of protests planned across the United States, the UK, France, Germany, the Netherlands, and more. According to the Tesla Takedown website, and this is all being funded by the radical left and the billionaires of the left, okay? They oppose that Musk's, quote, alleged illegal coup. That's how they describe it. And his use of the Tesla fortune to destroy our democracy. Same people that are saying they believe in democracy are the ones that are saying torch Teslas and firebomb them and set up like actual bombs, for example, incendiary devices at the one in Austin. Tesla takedown is a peaceful protest movement. That's what they say. We oppose violence, vandalism, and destruction of property. That's on the website. I think the actions that we were seeing speak differently than what you've got on your website. The planned protests come amidst a significant decline in Tesla's stock value, which has lost almost 40% since December, falling from nearly $500 a share to around $270 a share. This drop in value coincides with an increase in vandalism, targeting Tesla dealerships and vehicles across the U.S. By the way, just a personal note, I'm just not a guy that's a Tesla guy. It has nothing to do with Elon Musk. I'm just kind of I like gas in my engines. I don't like the stress of worrying where I'm going to like plug the thing in. I told Elon this at the White House last week. I am, for the first time in my life, genuinely looking at the reality of buying a Tesla, just to give not one but two middle fingers to these radicals on the left. Second thing, I'm now looking at actually buying Tesla stock, because if they're going to try to do this, then I want to stand with him. I would never have been a candidate for a Tesla until these psychopaths, these degenerates, have done what they've done. And I'm like, bring it on. You want to come after my car? Fine. You're going to jail, because the cameras are going to be rolling. Sometimes you got to stand up for good people doing good things. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one.
Making sense of your world.
There are a lot of things that really tick me off.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news. Illuminating the issues.
There's a whole lot missing here in this story, isn't there?
Every day.
Why are we the only ones reporting this?
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. If you the proud Marines.
Let's see, something different for dinner. Searching restaurants near me.
Right here, ma'am. How can we help?
Gee, same old, same old.
Wait, we're right here. Ma'am, our restaurant's just a few blocks from you. Why is she not seeing us?
Back to the usual, I guess.
Ma'am, can you not see us?
Nope, they can't see you because you're buried deep in the list of local restaurants. You are invisible online. Introducing Cumulus Boost. Get a boost, get found, get on the map. Learn more at cumulusboost.com.
Making sense of your world on the go. Stream your favorite shows, get the day's top headlines, and access our podcast archives, all with the new WMAL app.
This is for you.
Get the WMAL app on Google Play or the Apple App Store and stay connected.
Vince Colonnese is redefining news talk with The Vince Show.
This is unheard of in media. Dan Bongino is becoming deputy director of the FBI. I'm taking over on the Dan Bongino Show, which will now be The Vince Show. Just an advanced preview. It's going to be exhilarating. It is a reflection of your response to this program that we get to take this thing to the next level. These gigantic shows right out the gate. This is going to be so much fun. It's unbelievable.
The Vince Show and Vince Podcast. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now.
Arctic security is a big issue. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Vice President J.D. Vance in Greenland today as the administration makes the case for taking over the Danish territory.
Speaking at a U.S. Space Force base in Greenland, Vice President J.D. Vance accused Denmark of not doing enough to devote resources to keep the island safe.
From a lot of very aggressive incursions from Russia, from China, and from other nations.
Vance says he believes the people of Greenland will choose to partner with the U.S.
I think that you'd be a lot better coming under the United States security umbrella than you have been under Denmark's security umbrella.
Denmark is a NATO ally. Vance's trip to the military outpost was scaled down. The Second Lady, Usha Vance, had planned on a multi-day cultural trip. Those plans were changed following protests in Greenland and Denmark.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. President Trump filing an emergency appeal to the Supreme Court after a federal appeals court left in place an order temporarily prohibiting deportations of Venezuelan migrants to El Salvador.
DOJ today asking the justices to allow deportations of suspected criminal aliens to resume under the 1798 wartime law called the Alien Enemies Act. The administration cited that rarely used authority when deporting 261 suspected Venezuelan gang members living in the U.S. to a notorious prison in El Salvador without court hearings.
Fox's David Spunt at the Justice Department. A federal judge has blocked the Trump administration from dismantling the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. The agency is responsible for protecting consumers from financial fraud and deceptive practices. It processes consumer complaints and protects student loan borrowers. The U.S. Naval Academy will no longer consider race, ethnicity, or sex as a factor for admission in response to President Trump's executive order. America is listening to Fox News.
ICE clashing with local law enforcement. I'm Sharon Reardon from the Novak Motors News Desk. Good evening. Federal immigration officials are once again accusing the Prince George's County Department of Corrections of releasing a dangerous accused murderer in the country illegally in violation of a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detainer. 7 News reporting that ICE Baltimore says they arrested Venezuelan alien and Tren de Aragua gang member Wilmer and Navarro March 18th after PG Corrections failed to honor an ICE detainer. However, officials with the Prince George's County State's Attorney's Office says there were problems with the case and it was dropped, resulting in Navarro's release from jail. Fairfax County Police have announced arrests connected to a series of high-end thefts across the area.
This is really representative of how the National Capital Region and the greater DMV work together.
Chief Kevin Davis is force part of an effort with help from Prince William County, Montgomery County, and others in custody 2 adults and a 17-year-old believed to be responsible for 15 or more incidents in which they raided Ulta Beauty locations across the region. And Deputy Chief Gregory Freed
stole the high-end fragrances and made away from the store. They're
Her acts were brazen across multiple jurisdictions over a 4-month span.
Upward of $180,000 in goods were stolen. The trio was taken into custody after being spotted at Annapolis Mall. Scotland on WMAL and WMAL.com.
And it's peak bloom time. Peak bloom marks the period when 70% of the Yoshino cherry trees around the tidal basin are in full flower. 7 News says this year's bloom has arrived right on schedule for spring and has transformed the basin into a sea of delicate pink and white petals. By the way, the cherry blossoms are one of the DC region's biggest spring attractions, drawing millions of visitors annually. WMAL News Time is 8:04.
Let's talk numbers. In-person therapy can cost anywhere from $100 to $250 per session, which adds up. But with BetterHelp Online Therapy, you can save on average up to 50% per session. Therapy should feel accessible, not like a luxury. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp has served over 5 million people globally and helped you fit therapy into your busy life. Your well-being is worth it. Visit BetterHelp, HELP.com/seasons to get 10% off your first month.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them. Because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to masachips.com and use code MM30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips, real ingredients, unreal crunch.
Hey y'all, it's Caitlin and Kane Brown here with Wayfair. As a growing family, one of our favorite things is Game Night Wayfair Edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Ever wonder why your business doesn't show up on online search maps, but your competitors do? It's hundreds of things. Things that Cumulus Boost can identify and fix. And that's how we boost your findability. Cumulusboost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life.
That works.
Proud Marine.
That's funny.
I was chewing alcohol over my family. That's when I made the call.
You got that wrong. It's not King Rob. It's Klingon Rob.
Mental health care works when you make the call. Visit mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Klingon Rob.
A great one, Mark Levin. We've got a lot to chat about tonight on the show, including Maine school officials saying they will not comply with the Trump administration's agreement to bar transgender athletes. You want to know what anarchy looks like? These are the same people that say our democracy is under attack. They're the ones that refuse to comply with the laws in this country, whether it's deporting illegal immigrants or abiding by the federal laws when it comes to this issue of protecting women in the sports and the locker rooms and the bathrooms. This coming from the Associated Press. School officials in Maine said Thursday they will not comply with a proposed agreement from President Donald Trump's administration that would bar transgender athletes from participating in girls' sports. The U.S. Health and Human Services said earlier this month that the Maine Department of Education, Maine's Principals Association, and a high school are each in violation Title IX because of the participation of transgender athletes. The federal investigation came after a public spat between Donald Trump and the Democratic Maine governor, Janet Mills, about the subject. The health department gave the institutions 10 days to comply with a voluntary agreement to settle the issue by banning the athletes. The Principals Association, which oversees high school sports in the state, and School Administrative District 51, which includes Greeley High School, where the controversy was erupting, both said they will not comply with the agreement. The federal health department cited Greeley High School in the Portland suburb of Cumberland because of a report that a transgender student won a girls' track competition, and there was obviously video of it going viral. The district said in a letter to the community on Thursday that it is not complying because it will instead continue to follow state law and the Maine Human Rights Act, quote unquote. In other words, screw you to federal government. The district statement also said, quote, to our students, thank you for your maturity, perseverance, and dedication to learning through these distractions. Please continue to lead the way. I'd love for them to make that statement, but just change a little bit, saying, hey, to women, we're really sorry that we're forcing you to be in the same locker room with men showing their dinglings to you. And, hey, we're really sorry that we're allowing men to beat the crap out of you in sports. And, hey, we're really sorry that we're taking away the chance for you to actually get college scholarships and win national titles or state titles or sectional titles because we're allowing dudes who claim they're a chick to beat the crap out of you in sports. That would be a nice statement. Of course, they're not going to do that in Maine because they're woke. Now, these Marxist, socialists, and communists in the Maine Principals Association said in a statement, it is also, quote, bound by the law, including the Maine Human Rights Act, which our participation policy reflects. A spokesman for the Maine Department of Education referred the matter to the State Attorney General's office, which did not respond to the AP for a request for comment. Now, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services also did not respond to a request for comment. The department said in a statement earlier this month this: we hope the Maine Department of Education, the Maine Principals Association, and the Greeley High School will work with us to come to an agreement that restores fairness in women's sports. Mills and Trump, you may remember, sparred over the subject last month during a meeting of the governors of the White House. During that meeting, Trump made it clear that he would pull federal funding from Maine if the state does not comply with his executive order barring transgendered athletes, that is, again, I don't even like to call it that, I just say it's dudes acting like chicks, from women's sports. Mills responded, we'll see you in court. And Donald Trump said, great. The U.S. Education Department has since concluded that Maine violated the Title IX anti-discrimination law and could face Justice Department prosecution. Now, let me just talk about the strategy here when it comes to this one. I am all in favor of the law being followed and the DOJ doing their job when it comes to this issue of the law. I'm all in favor of it. I think there are far too many liberals out there that say, I don't have to comply with the law, but if Republicans did this, you would be arrested. I'm not in favor of lawfare. That's probably a better way of saying it. Okay, I'm not. What I am in favor of is following the law. And you look at another example of this happened a couple of days ago. You had Secretary Rawlings saying this in a cabinet meeting with Donald Trump. And here's what she said on this other issue of transgender. Listen.
Let me just add to that, and thank you. We just had a wonderful cabinet meeting, all aligned on certainly the effort to realign the government. But even at the U.S. Department of Agriculture, we've canceled a $300,000 contract educating on food justice for queer and transgender farmers in San Francisco. A similar contract we canceled in New York. Again, educating transgender and queer farmers on food justice and food equality. I'm not even sure what that means, but apparently the last administration wanted to put our taxpayer dollars towards that. We canceled a $600,000 contract out of Louisiana that was studying the menstrual cycles of transgender men, a $600,000 contract. We canceled another contract out of a university in the middle of the country that focused on getting more diversity, equity, and inclusion into our pest management industry. Again, these are nonsensical. It makes zero sense to use taxpayer dollars to fund these. I know these are just a few examples of the hundreds and hundreds that we've found.
Well, I got to tell you, canceling a contract in New York Education and educating transgender queer farmers on food justice and food equality. If you explain this to the American people the way that Secretary Rollins just did, the majority of Americans are going to say, yeah, we stand with you on this. We get it. We understand it. We stand with you on it. We support you on it. And we're not going to be bullied anymore to believe that we have to believe that a man can be a woman. We absolutely have to protect women. I still don't understand. I really don't. I don't understand where are all the quote feminists. Where are they? How are there not more feminists out there that are protecting women from men destroying their dreams? I mean this. It's incredible. Donald Trump, by the way, was asked a question. It was supposed to be one of those, quote, I got you questions in the White House. And he was taking questions yet again in the Oval Office. And there was a reporter that was there that asked the president a question about women and men, right? The transgender issue. What is a woman? You ready for this? Here's the president in his own words earlier.
Since Democrats seem to struggle answering this question, I wanted to ask you, what is a woman and why is it important that we understand the difference between men and women?
Well, it's sort of easy to answer for me because a woman is somebody that can have a baby under certain circumstances. She has a quality. A woman is a person who's much smarter than a man, I've always found. A woman is a person that doesn't give a man even a chance of success. And a woman's a person that in many cases has been treated very badly, because I think that what happens with this crazy issue of men being able to play in women's sports is just ridiculous and very unfair to women and very demeaning to women. And that's got to be about a 94%. I read today it was a 94% issue. And I watched the other day, Congressman, a Democrat congressman, fighting for the fact that men should be allowed to compete essentially in women's sports. And I say, I hope they keep that going, because they'll never win another election. That's a big deal. But women are basically incredible people, do so much for our country. And we love our women, and we're going to take care of our women. Yeah.
How is it, if you're a feminist and you hear that from Donald Trump, how on earth could you not be in favor of that? Like, what is there for you to be angry about? How could you be angry? I listen to that. I'm like, the feminists should be like, okay, I can get behind that. I can totally get behind that. And the president's saying it's easy. He's standing up for women. And I never thought I'd see a day where the Democratic Party would be the one saying that, no, women, we're going to screw you over. Like the feminist movement, you would have thought they would have been the first ones to go, men, get the hell out of our locker rooms, get the hell out of our sports. You would have thought that that's where this would have gone. But for some reason, like, no. We're going to have a radical, crazy world where women are going to be screwed by men acting like women. And their lives are going to be changed, and their success is going to be changed in sports. I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it filling in for Mark or not, but Martina Navratilova, I played tennis in college, so that's like I know a lot about, obviously, that sport. And Martina Navratilova was a pioneer. She was one of the first, I think maybe the first, like, woman to really come out and be like, I'm a lesbian. And it certainly was going to affect her career, and she knew it. Because when she came out, like, it was a long time ago. And it was going to cost her money. It was going to cost her endorsements, and she was going to be ridiculed. Like, and she knew it was going to happen. It was not going to be good. All right. Like it was going to be bad. And there was a lot of people that but she did it. And she's come out, and now the LGBTQ world has turned on her. because she stood up and said that it's totally insane to allow men to act like women and compete with women. By the way, if you want to have a transgendered league, I don't care. Okay, that's one of the things. My actually giving a crap now level is like really low. If you want to have a transgendered NBA, cool. I'm not going to watch it. Maybe other people want to. Fine. You want to have a transgendered tennis tour? Sure. You want to have a transgendered golf tour? Sure. You want to have a transgendered any tour? I don't care. Like, do it. Like, please do it. Like, knock yourself out. I really don't give a crap. Like, I don't care. Okay? I don't. But don't change women's sports to take away from women. And that is the point that she made. Like, it is unfair to have men in women's sports, whether it's swimming. We've seen this with Riley Gaines. Whether it's volleyball, we've seen this with people whose lives have been, I mean, Donald Trump had one of them at the, it's joint address to Congress recently. His State of the Union, where there was a woman that he talked about whose life was altered forever after she had an actual brain injury from a man acting like a dude, hitting her in the face in a violent way with the speed, okay, with the speed of a man spiking a ball. Not able to play after that. This is what happens. Women are going to also get hurt. It's not just it's not just what happens with men taking away scholarships. Women are going to get hurt too. 1-877-381-3811. 1-877-381-3811. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one, Mark Levin. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Folks, we're living in uncertain times. Market volatility, economic instability. These are real threats to your hard-earned savings. That's why Advantage Gold and I want you to join the April 30th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time Gold and Silver Summit, an exclusive event and backed by popular demand, where you'll learn how to build your own strategic wealth reserve. Now, if you've been thinking about getting help protecting your assets, this is the event for you. That's right. It's April 30th, 7 p.m. Eastern for the Gold and Silver Summit. Don't miss it. They're giving away up to $100,000 in free silver. Each person can claim up to $1,000 in free silver, plus $300 in bonuses, but only if you qualify. The catch is you have to attend a live event to learn how. Don't wait until it's too late. Text MAGA to 85545 right now to reserve your spot. This could be one of the most important financial decisions you ever make. Text MAGA to 85545. Message and data rates apply. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them, because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to masachips.com and use code MM30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips. Real ingredients, unreal crunch.
Hey y'all, it's Caitlin and Kane Brown here with Wayfair. As a growing family, one of our favorite things is Game Night Wayfair Edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Want to get some good discounted food and dining options, reliable roadside assistance, preferred credit card offers, or fraud protection? You need to check out AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens. No matter what your age is, you can take advantage of the services they provide for either yourself or your family, and have confidence that their partners stand behind the vision our nation's founders had to enrich the lives of all Americans through goods and services offered by like-minded companies. But joining AMAC isn't just about the benefits. It's about belonging to a community that stands for timeless American values. Regardless of your age, you can enroll in a 5-year AMAC membership for 47% off. Visit amac.us/MAC SRS today to take advantage of this special offer. AMAX membership is made up of Americans who believe in faith, family, and freedom. We're over 2 million members strong and growing. Their mission is simple: protect the interests of all freedom-loving Americans and offer incredible member benefits. From exclusive discounts on travel insurance and everyday services to supporting strong representation in Washington, D.C. AMAX here to make a difference in your life and our nation. Visit amac.us/SRS today to join millions of Americans who believe in backing their mission. That's amac.us/SRS. Join AMAC and become a part of a movement that stands for you, your family, and your future.
Now Taxes is using Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get your refund so you can do more with it right in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Bravo TV star Lala Kent holds nothing back on the Give Them Lala podcast.
It's very a lot. You want the headline. Here is my interview with Vicky Gunvalson. Who did the biggest number on you? I'm not friends with Chandler anymore, which is fine. Do you feel like you guys can repair? No. Stick to what you know.
Iconic.
Absolutely fantastic. It is like the Super Bowl every episode.
Give Them Lala.
Unhinged, but also amazing TV.
Get ready.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
We're the stronger than we look type.
I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 2.
The braver than you think type.
I have to take insulin shots every single day.
The type that will stop at nothing.
No more blood sugar tests.
Absolutely nothing.
No more complications.
Until type 1 becomes type none.
Support JDRF's life-changing research, and one day you'll say, I helped turn type 1 into type none. Join us now at jdrf.org.
You know, I'm tired of scrolling through shows on TV and finding nothing but the same mind-numbing content. Don't waste the precious little time you have with that nonsense when you could be learning something new, inspiring, exciting. Hillsdale College is offering more than 40 free online courses. Learn about the works of the great C.S. Lewis, the stories in the books of Genesis, the meaning of our Constitution, or the history of the ancient Christian church with Hillsdale College's free online courses. I'm personally enjoying the Genesis story. Genesis is a book of fundamental importance for the Jewish and Christian faiths and has exerted a profound influence on Western civilization. Sign up for the Genesis story and all the other stories now for free. Learn some of the work's major narrative themes. Go right now to levinforhillsdale.com to enroll. That's LEVIN for Hillsdale.com. There's no cost. It's easy to get started. That's levinforhillsdale.com to register. LEVIN for Hillsdale.com.
Making sense of your world.
Greatly appreciated.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
I love listening to you.
Making sense of the news.
All right, welcome back. It is Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one, Mark Levin. It is really nice to have you with us, and I want to get to some of your phone calls. We're talking about the transgender issue. Democrats are saying we're not going to comply. Maine school officials won't comply with the Trump administration's agreement to bar transgender athletes. Maine's governor, Janet Mills, speaking to the press this week, saying we're not budging at all. 1-877-381-3811. Let me get to your phone calls now. We'll go to Danny. Welcome. You are on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one. How are you, sir?
Hey, Ben, thank you for taking my call. I've got one thing to say for the transgender debacle that they have going on with women's sports. If you're not good enough to play with the boys, get better. But if that's not going to be the case, why do we even have women's sports to begin with? And you mentioned something, and I want to drop a few points for you to expand upon later because I know you're probably up against the wall. The Social Security issue. In 2 years, I'll be able to claim it, along with God knows how many other hundreds of millions of baby boomers. If it's not there, there is going to be some serious violence. I am not a proponent of it. I'm just saying, this isn't going to turn out well. With Boasberg and him going against Trump, Speaker Johnson came out and said, listen, first of all, we're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. And he came right out and said, listen, we can dissolve the Supreme Court if we want to. It only takes the executive and the legislative branch to do so because there's only one Supreme Court. The rest are inferior. I don't know where this guy Boasberg gets off telling the president that he needs to comply with his wishes and so on and so forth. I mean, you always want to respect the judge, but in this case, I don't think so.
Look, I want to fight all of these things like to the fullest, not out of arrogance, not even out of like the issue of principle. It's because I think we're gonna win.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it for me. Like
to win.
Yeah, but I mean it's that for me. It's just that's the issue. Like it's actually that simple. And I think this administration is well prepared for this. This administration is not going to back down. This administration understands what lawfare looks like. They're in the middle of it yet again here, and they're not going to concede. They're not going to concede because they won an election and the American people have spoken. And if you want to know how little the left respects you as a voter, look at what they're doing to try to destroy your vote. That's what people need to understand. Ben Ferguson filling in for Mark Levin. Don't forget, follow me on X, Ben Ferguson Show. We'll be right back.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. That was made right here in America by the good folks at Allegiance Flag Supply. That's the first thought that crosses my mind when I see that beautiful hand-sewed American flag flying on the outside of my home. Friends, there's no better way to show your love of country, love for our troops, love of freedom than flying your American flag. But don't get a cheap, flimsy flag, one that's made overseas. Get an Allegiance flag. It tells a story. It was handcrafted in Charleston, South Carolina. All the components from the flagpole to the spinners and the mounts were sourced right here in the United States. An Allegiance flag shows support for your country and support for the hardworking men and women who make this country great. I encourage you to visit showallegiance.com. Experience the difference of a real American-made flag. Again, go to showallegiance.com. You'll save $35 off your complete flag set. That's showallegiance.com for American flags made the American way.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to masachips.com and use code MM30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips. Real ingredients, unreal crunch.
Hey, y'all. As a growing family, my husband and I love game night, especially when it's Wayfair edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com, where you can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Around the clock updates and uncommon understanding.
Listen to this, because this stuff is going on behind the scenes and you don't know about it.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
Happy kids heal faster. That's why Starlight Children's Foundation delivers happiness through gaming, toy deliveries, and more to hospitals across the country. Learn more at starlight.org.
Award-winning series from Imperative Entertainment, In the Red Clay.
Before it's all said and done, more than 50 people will be dead at the hands of one man alone. The most notorious man you've never heard of.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, professional race car driver here with cab driver Artie.
Professional cab driver.
Professional cab driver Artie. Drinking responsibly is knowing your limits. If you are over yours, ask Artie or someone like Artie to get you home safely. To learn more about drinking responsibly, go to beforeyoudrink.org.
So, you think I could take your number 26 Crown Royal race car for a spin?
Would you get out of there?
Be a champion. Drink responsibly. This message has been brought to you by the Century Council.
Hey, I'm Reba McEntire. In life, you'll hear a lot of people tell you that you can do anything you want. I'm here to tell you that's true. Since I was a little girl, I dreamed of becoming a successful singer and entertainer. It took a lot of hard work, dedication, and perseverance to find my success, but it was worth it. I never gave up on my dreams. Remember, you can never have a dream come true until you've had a dream. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
This is Women's Work with Nicole Khalil. I wish you health, physical, mental, emotional, financial, social, and most definitely spiritual. Redefining what it means to be doing women's work.
I would rather have the temporary pain of discomfort than the avoidable pain of regret.
But hear me when I say this. Believe in something. Believe in yourself. That, more than anything, is absolutely woman's work. This is Women's Work from Believe. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
This is my new best friend, Esther. She might look like any normal, playful puppy, but Esther's being raised to become a canine companions for independence assistance dog for a person with a disability. To get there, she needs lots of loving care and attention, plenty of exercise, and good eating habits so that she can live a long and healthy life for her future family. Visit cci.org or call 1-800-572-BARK. Raise a puppy, change a life. You can make a world of difference in the life of a person with a disability.
Making sense of your world.
I agree with everything you're saying.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
My heart is great for what's going on.
Making sense of the news. WMAL's Vince Colonnese. Weekdays at noon on 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
This is the show the New York Times is afraid of. Mark Levin, call him now at 877-381-3811.
Welcome back. It is nice to have you with us. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one, and he'll be back with you on Monday. I want to get to some of the big news that's going on right now. Elon Musk coming out saying this as well in his interview with Brett Baer, and I want to play this for you. Take a listen.
Phones could be shut down. Finally, what's the biggest thing for you that keeps you up at night?
Well, there's a lot of things that I suppose that I worry about, but and some of these things will seem esoteric to people. The birth rate is very low in almost every country, and it's something, unless that changes, civilization will disappear. America had the lowest birth rate, I believe, ever. That was last year. Places like Korea, the birth rate is 1/3 replacement rate. So that means in 3 generations, Korea will be 3 or 4% of its current size. And nothing seems to be turning that around. Humanity is dying. And people, it's just not something we evolved to react to. And I worry generally about the strength of America. America is the central column that holds up all of Western civilization. So if we've got the temple of Western civilization, America is the central column. If that column fails, it's all over. You can't run off to New Zealand or some other place. It's over. So either we strengthen that column and make sure America is strong and will be strong for one time, or that roof's coming down.
It's so interesting to hear Elon answer that question. And I think it goes back to, why is he doing this? I think he loves this country. And I think it's pretty clear he loves this country. So the question that every American should be asking is, why are Democrats so upset that he's finding fraud? It was something they talked about in the 5. It's something I mentioned earlier. They were talking about this interview. And they said the reason why they think Democrats are so upset is because they believe the government is theirs. It's their bank to push their ideology on everyone.
Relations and what they've been able to dig up.
Well, first I thought all these Doge boys were going to be wearing hoodies and had one-hitters hanging from their mouth. And they're really successful innovators that have left their successful companies to take a sabbatical to save the country. And all the Democrats can do is heckle. They're like bleacher creatures. They're just yelling stuff from the stand. They have a hot dog in one hand, a Miller Lite here, and they're like, "You're too slow." Meanwhile, these people need wheelchairs to get out of the stadium. They don't have any ideas, the Democrats. What's their idea to cut waste, fraud, and abuse? What's their idea to cut spending. This is like when your wife spills wine and then she yells at you because the way you're cleaning it up is wrong. Babe, you spilled the wine. I'll clean it up the way I want to clean it up. Why aren't Democrats upset about fraud? They're just upset about the way we're finding the fraud. Like, we're injecting swallows with Coke to see if it makes them horny. Yes, Coke makes everybody horny. Why can't we just hold hands and agree that some of this stuff is ridiculous? The Democrats don't run their own business like this. What Democrat business hires people and never fires people? What Democrat business just gets built out of millions of dollars and never stops it? What Democrat business gives every employee 2 credit cards? None. Democrats never run their own businesses that way, but for some reason tolerate what's going on in the federal government like this.
By the way, I think Jesse's absolutely right. Why are Democrats upset about fraud? Why aren't they upset about fraud? Well, it's and none of them run their businesses this way. So why? Here's the last thing he says, which is the core point here.
I would want FEMA to be faster. I would want the Pentagon not to get built. I would want Medicare and Social Security saved. We can agree on that. But for some reason, Democrats are fighting tooth and nail against this. It's almost like they think the government's theirs. And when any Republican takes power, he's leasing the White House. Like, if he wants to make any changes, like, you have to call the super. Like, you can't do anything. You can't paint it. You can't irrigate the lawn. Anything needs to be done, you have to have the Democrats do it for them. That's not how we run this country.
That's not how we run this country. It is, by the way, how Democrats run this country. That's the whole problem. This is exactly how they want to run the government, because they believe that it is theirs. That's what it is. They believe that it is theirs. Let's go to your phone calls. 1-877-381-3811. Catalina, line 1, welcome in New York State. You're on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson with you. Hi.
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Go ahead.
Okay, dear. Listen, as far as the Zelensky situation earlier on, are we crazy? This is part of history. There are documents. There are things that are absolutely for the, historic record. So the idea that he does not know where the money is absolutely a lie. These are not verbal agreements. There are absolutely written things. And so what I have to say is...
Let me catch me up to speed on what you're referencing. Earlier in the show, we were talking about how Zelensky says he doesn't know where 50% of the money went. And this is after he's now come out today saying that the money you gave us in the past is not ever going to be looked at as a loan by us. Maybe some of the future stuff, but none of the past stuff. And I'm like, go ahead, be an idiot. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. If you want anything from this president, you better go back and make it clear that, hey, a loan, yeah, we're probably going to do that. And look at what you gave us in the past as a loan. And that just makes good sense. He's like, no, it's not. We're not going to take it as a loan. So you need to go for it. Fine. Like, you want to act that way, then, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
This is pathetic because it's part of history. We have documents for our country and other countries going back that you can get out of the archives, of course, to see all of these agreements. So this is total fraud. This is a game. And he has gotten in there because any idiot, that arises to a particular, office, there's somebody tapping them on the shoulder to tell them how this works. And it's a total fraud. And I'm frightened and I'm saddened because of the mass graves. A whole country is being buried for greed. It's greed.
It's a great way of putting it. It is absolutely for greed. That it's all about power and control. And I go back to what Jesse said there on Fox. It's Democrats believe the government is theirs. They believe it is their piggy bank, to indoctrinate the rest of not only America, but really the world and their radical ideological viewpoints?
My friend, the most important thing to understand is the demise of civilizations is when they do not conscientiously recognize that there absolutely is something called evil. And I'm saddened. I cannot tell you how much I feel. And I have had many revelations early on when I have seen.
Let's go back to what I mentioned earlier, and I played this earlier in the show, and I'm going to play it again. I appreciate your phone call. But when Chuck Schumer came out, and you see what Elon Musk is finding, you see what Donald Trump is doing. He's giving the American people their power and their freedom back. And so what does Chuck Schumer do? He goes, the oldest play in the book, right? Okay, we'll say that Elon Musk is evil and eroding the American dream, and Trump too.
Trump and Musk are just eroding the American dream. They're rigging the system for billionaires while stealing from the elderly, from the disabled, to cut taxes for their billionaire club.
Show me proof of any of that. And by the way, I would totally stand with you. Like, show me the proof. You're up there. You called the press conference. You're the one that said you wanted to have this conversation. Okay, then. Show me the proof. Show me the proof. Gary, line 7. Thanks for waiting. You're on the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson with you. Hi. Gary, you there? All right, I guess we lost Gary. 1-877-381-3811, 1-877-381-3811. Don't forget, you can also send me your comments on X. Follow me there, at Ben Ferguson Show. On Instagram, Ben Ferguson Podcast. And if you would, I'd love to keep up with you. I do a podcast each and every day. It's called the Ben Ferguson Podcast. Grab it. It's free wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want a short form podcast, I do one called the 47 Morning Update. It's the 3 biggest stories coming out of the White House. You can grab it. It's about 10 minutes long. Grab the 47 Morning Update as well. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin. News Talk 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
Folks, we're living in uncertain times. Market volatility, economic instability. These are real threats to your hard-earned savings. That's why Advantage Gold and I want you to join the April 30th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time Gold and Silver Summit, an exclusive event and backed by popular demand, where you'll learn how to build your own strategic wealth reserve. Now, if you've been thinking about getting help protecting your assets, this is the event for you. That's right. It's April 30th, 7 p.m. Eastern for the Gold and Silver Summit. Don't miss it. They're giving away up to $100,000 in free silver. Each person can claim up to $1,000 in free silver, plus $300 in bonuses, but only if you qualify. The catch is you have to attend a live event to learn how. Don't wait until it's too late. Text MAGA to 85545 right now to reserve your spot. This could be one of the most important financial decisions you ever make. Text MAGA to 85545. Message and data rates apply. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
If you've never had a chip cooked in beef tallow, get ready. Masa chips are made the old school way. No seed oils, no weird ingredients, just real food, corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed tallow. The crunch is insane, the taste is real, and you actually feel good after eating them. Because staying on top of your game starts with what you put in your body. Go to masachips.com and use code MN30 for 30% off your first order. Masa Chips, real ingredients, unreal crunch.
School absences are often due to the absence of necessary resources, but when Communities in Schools is present, students are connected to the support they need to show up ready to learn. Visit communitiesandschools.org. Being present matters.
Bravo TV star Lala Kent holds nothing back on the Give Them Lala podcast.
It's very a lot. You want the headline. Here is my interview with Vicky Gunvalson. Who did the biggest number on you?
I'm not friends with Tamara anymore, which is fine.
Do you feel like you guys can repair?
No.
Stick to what you know.
Iconic.
Absolutely fantastic. It is like the Super Bowl every episode.
Give Them Lala.
Unhinged, but also amazing TV.
Get ready.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Around the clock updates and uncommon understanding.
Listen to this, because this stuff is going on behind the scenes and you don't know about it.
News Talk 105.9. Making sense of the news.
While serving in Iraq, our vehicle was hit. They didn't think I was going to make it. I'm Latoya Lucas, and I'm a veteran. I had to learn to live with the scars, both visible and invisible.
DAV helps veterans like Latoya get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is overcoming my wounds so I can help other veterans.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. You can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align. Because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, professional race car driver here with cab driver Artie.
Professional cab driver.
Sorry, professional cab driver Artie. Drinking responsibly is knowing your limits. If you are over yours, ask Artie or someone like Artie to get you home safely. To learn more about drinking responsibly, go to beforeyoudrink.org.
So, you think I could take your number 26 Crown Royal race car for a spin?
Did you get out of there?
Be a champion. Drink responsibly. This message has been brought to you by the Century Council.
Starlight Children's Foundation brightens the lives of sick kids like my son Finn, who was born with congenital heart disease. Learn more about Starlight by visiting starlight.org today.
Only two things in life are certain: death and taxes. Well, now there's a third certainty. If you're with the big wireless providers, you could be saving a fortune every month by switching to Pure Talk. That's right, Pure Talk, my sponsor, my cell phone company, is cutting the fat from the wireless industry. For just $25 a month, you can get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data on America's most dependable 5G network. Listen to this. The average family of 4 saves over $1,000 a year when they switch to Pure Talk. That's real money back in your pocket. And with Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch hassle-free in as little as 10 minutes. You can keep your phone and your number. So folks, do this. Dial pound 250. That's pound 250. Say keyword Mark Levin to make the switch. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Again, dial pound 250. Say Mark Levin to start saving today. Pure Talk is wireless by Americans for Americans.
Making sense of your world.
I agree with you 100%.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
There's a lot of us out there.
Making sense of the news. Chris Plant, weekdays 9 to noon on 105.9 WMAL. Making sense of the news.
Welcome back. It is the Mark Levin Show. Ben Ferguson filling in for the great one, Mark Levin, and he'll be back with you on Monday. Donald Trump announcing a 25% tariff, by the way, on cars not made in the U.S. There's going to be a lot of fodder over this. So I thought I would let you hear from the president in the Oval Office.
So this is the beginning of Liberation Day in America. We're going to take back just some of the money that has been taken from us by people sitting behind this desk or another desk that's not quite as nice, but they have their choice of 7, as you know. And we're going to charge countries for doing business in our country and taking our jobs, taking our wealth, taking a lot of things that they've been taking over the years. They've taken so much out of our country, friend and foe. And frankly, friend has been oftentimes much worse than foe. And this is very modest. And what we're going to be doing is a 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States. If they're made in the United States, there's absolutely no tariff. We start off with a 2.5% base, which is what we were at. And we go to 25%. And basically, as you know, and as you've been saying, not reporting as accurately as it should be reported because it's a massive story. business is coming back to the United States so that they don't have to pay tariffs. And I think also because of November 5th, the election, they're very happy.
Now, this is complicated, obviously, because there's people like, well, hold on a second. If foreign cars are going to go up in price, then I may not be happy about the foreign car. This is also just simply put about leverage. And Donald Trump has made it clear that he's going to use tariffs for leverage. He loves tariffs. Anytime you're around him, he talks about tariffs. He likes them. He thinks they are a tool to be used to get things back in check when they've gotten out of whack with other countries. He's using it with China. He's using it with Canada. By the way, we heard earlier today, he had a great call with a new leader in Canada. There's a very good chance that they're going to be able to work a deal out here for securing that northern border and also for the president to be able to not have such a trade deficit with Canada. Same thing with Mexico. He wants concessions. And he understands that, yeah, things can go out of whack here a little bit, but can other countries hold on as long as we can? I think the president really does know what he's doing right here. And I think the president is understanding that he's got to he has to do it differently this time than he did it last time. Donald Trump said, even back in 2024, talking about tariffs, and he's not really stopped from this viewpoint. He said this in an interview, I think it was on Fox Business in Bedminster, New Jersey, at his golf club. This about the idea of tariffs with China.
Tariffs as a national security tool?
Absolutely.
How?
So tariffs have two things. Number one, I think they're great. You're taking money. If China's charging us 100%, and we don't charge them anything, you know what happens? They say, we don't want your cars from America. We want you to build your factory in China or other countries. And it's not just China. I would be willing to bet that I had a great relationship with President Xi. And in all fairness, when COVID came in and it came from Wuhan, and I said it right from the first time you interviewed me, it came from the Wuhan labs. You know, they were saying it came from France, Italy, Germany. It came from all over the place. They said it came from us.
No, we knew, Wuhan, you're right.
We always said Wuhan. It came from caves, bat caves, 2,000 miles away. But when that came, it was just a ship too far.
Are you considering putting tariffs on other countries?
I mean, he's been consistent on this. He ran on it. He ran on this. He ran on the idea that we're going to use this for national security issues, for making it clear that we're not going to be messed around with, we're not going to be screwed with. And then when he's doing it, there are people that can't get their head around, they can't believe it. Why would you not believe him when he said this is what he was going to do? Why? He's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. He's doing exactly what he promised the American voters he was going to do. He said that in August of last year. If people didn't want this, they could have voted against it. But instead, they voted in favor of it. Right? They voted in favor of it. I'll give you another example of why people voted for him. This was something else that came out with Doge in this interview with Bret Baier.
You've got overstaffing. A good example of overstaffing would be the IRS has got 1,400 people who are dedicated to provisioning laptops and cell phones. So if you join the IRS, you get a laptop and a cell phone, you're provisioned. So if each of those IRS officers or employees provisioned 2 employees per day, you could provision the entire IRS in a little more than a month. So 12 times a year, you can
why would you have 1,400 people whose only job it is to give out a laptop and a phone?
Right. The whole IRS could be handled once a month. So that doesn't make any sense.
Again, it doesn't make any sense. There are 1,400 IRS employees assigned to deliver laptops and cell phones to IRS agents. What? What the hell are we doing? It's always an honor to fill in for Mark. He'll be back with you Monday. I'd love to keep up with you. Please follow me on X, Ben Ferguson Show. Grab my podcast, the Ben Ferguson Podcast. And if you want to know the big 3 stories coming out of the White House every morning, take you about 10 minutes. Download the 47 morning update with me as well, wherever you get your podcasts. God bless America. Mark's back with you on Monday.
Making sense of your world.
Thank you for what you do.
News Talk 105.9 WMAL.
You give me hope.
Making sense of the news.
I don't see that.
Show presents Peak Points. Get timeless inspiration from the very best of the Sean Ryan Show.
September 11 happens. What is the first thing that went through your head? September 12th, I'm going back in the military.
Talk about being recruited by the cartel. How do you cope? Just learning how to find a new normal.
One of the most tragic events in American firefighter history. You know what comes after. You have this beautiful life. You have these horrible experiences.
That's why.
But you can do something with them for the greater good.
The Sean Ryan Show Peak Points. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
My baby brother, a father. Come on, it's time for his nap.
That's why.
Sleep on his stomach. Babies should always sleep on their backs in a safety-approved crib, and the sleep area should be clear of blankets, toys, and other loose or soft items. It reduces the risk of SIDS. SIDS? You know, sudden infant death syndrome. Guess I need to start studying up on safe sleep for little man here. Being his favorite uncle comes with big responsibilities.
Must have retracted it.
Visit safetosleep.nicchd.nih.
Then you call him.
Sponsored by the Eunice Kennedy Shriver National Institute.
Colin made a post and then retracted it. Then you call him.
Alcohol over my family. That's
Like
when I
an
made the
idiot.
call. Now I'm finding better ways to cope.
Mental health care works when you make the call. Visit mentalhealthcareworks.org. A message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
You can have more money and less problems after you listen to Joe Saul Sehi and OG. I'm ready to buckle down, guys. On Stacking Benjamins, financial literacy without the stress.
I told OG before we started recording how much fun we're going to have.
Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Hey, y'all. As a growing family, my husband and I love game night, especially when it's Wayfair edition.
Let's do it. You got to name as many Wayfair furniture and decor categories as you can. Ready? Go.
Sofas, bar stools, beds, ottomans, outdoor seating, bookshelves, kitchen tables, garden sheds, mid-century modern lamps.
Time. Nice. You got 9 out of a lot. Not too bad. Keep practicing by visiting wayfair.com. You can shop every style for every home.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington. A Cumulus Media Station.
All right, good night. I'm going to bed. I might be back later.